Sweet silver bells.
Sweet silver bells.
Seem to say throw kids away.
Did he say throw kids away?
Pairs.
One seems to hear words of good cheer from everywhere, filling the air. Oh, how they bound, raising the sound, all in the dales and in the sound. Who seem to say Christmas is here, bringing the cheer to young and old. Here come the boat, ding dong ding dong, that is the song.
That little redhead is Sean back in the day, people.
Sing songs of good cheer, Christmas is in. People sing songs of good cheer, Christmas is in. Glory in excelsis Deo. Glory, all seem to say Christmas is here, bringing good cheer. One seems to hear words of good cheer from everywhere, filling the air. Oh, how they bound, raising the sound, all in the dance and in the sound. People sing songs of good cheer, Christmas is here. People sing songs of good cheer, Christmas is here.
They do have amazing voices.
Yes, they do, buddy. Brings back my old seminary days.
I wonder if any of them sing now.
They got good teeth.
Yeah, they must not be from England.
Yeah, they're from England.
Are they?
Yeah, I do believe so.
Who seem to say ding dong ding dong. That is their song.
Look at the blue eyes on this kid. Jesus.
I
And, well, ladies and gentlemen, that's Carol of the Bells, done by the opera. Well, I'll give you the full name here in a little bit, but it's one of my favorite Christmas songs because really and truly, they just bang it out. And besides that, it's one of the very few that actually have the words. Usually, when you hear Carol of the Bells, it's just music.
Yeah, and you can't make out what they're saying.
Yeah,
Yep.
and it's rare that you hear any vocals to it anyway. I mean, like the Siberian Orchestra, they're just. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's good. I'm not saying it's good. What's her name? Lindsay, the one who plays the violin. She's good too.
Oh my God, hell, I'm in love with her, dude.
Yes, and I'm just saying she's good too, but there's no words there. It's just the song, and quite a few of the Carol of the Bells. I got quite a few copies because and then I stumbled across this one a couple of years back, and I was like, well, this is really good.
Mm-hmm.
I have no idea when it was originally recorded. God only knows. This thing could be.
It looks
20
fairly
years old.
recent. I'd say probably the 90s.
Yeah, it probably is. It probably is in the 90s. I don't know if it could have been done much before that. There's only 560,000 subscribers to this. I don't know, 28 million views 4 years ago is when this was posted. I just don't mean it's when it came out, but well, there's lots of comments, guys. 9,000 comments. If there's any negative ones, they have to be anti-Christian, is all I can tell you.
Yeah.
Because I mean, the song itself is just excellent.
Or maybe ones that are making fun of the kids in the video.
Yeah. Well, you know, I like making fun of the kids in the video. I can't help myself, but
Mm-hmm. And there's the one kid who's like his lips are like.
I wish I had a voice like that. Yeah, I know.
You seen the one kid? There's that one kid whose lips go like that.
I know.
Yeah.
It's weird.
Well, and it got me too, like the little black kid. He was belting it out. His lips weren't even moving. I was like, "What? How the hell is he doing this?"
If you go back and watch any of the early Bernadette Peters, when you know the very pretty singer, she dated. I don't know if she still is dating, but used to date Steve Martin. when she sings, her face doesn't move. I mean, she's like, it looks like like a ventriloquism doll. But she's really building it. She just doesn't move these muscles at all.
Carolyn, it's a great song. It's been around for a while. I'll look it up and find out exactly who it is. Well, YouTube don't always. Well, it's not exactly YouTube's fault. Remember, when you're reading something on YouTube didn't put that there. Some other person put that there. Mm-hmm. So it's up for them to give you the details, and they don't always give you the details. Well, we don't. Some of our archives are more detailed than others. Oh yeah, just depends what host it is. Some hosts like to give you a 3-day book before you get to the show, and some hosts are like la 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 la. Find out what's going on next, and that's the end of that. I'm guilty of both, by the way.
Hey Jay, is there a shadow behind you? Shadow figure?
My dog is sitting in front of the projector that makes the starry thing back there. So yeah, when he moves, you see his head or his ears. Yeah. So yeah, I have a shadow demon behind me in the form of a German Shepherd. Oh. Yeah, you do make right in front of it.
Dragon said they make some funny expressions. They make some pretty wacky ones, man.
So how was everybody's Christmas?
What was that?
It was pretty good. I showed you this book that I got, and I can't wait to read it. You said you know the author, Tom White?
Yep.
Thomas White. It looks cool. I mean, I'd never known Pennsylvania had cryptos. Of course, ghosts. It's an old state, but I didn't think we had. There's some cryptos in there I've never heard of, like lizard dudes walking around over here.
Y'all pretty close to New Jersey, aren't you? How far y'all?
Yeah, we are.
New Jersey's right on the other border.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. And the New Jersey Devils just hanging out over there.
Mm-hmm.
That's one of those guys to go to New Jersey and look for the devil. I forget the name of the triangle they call it over there, but I'm telling you.
Well, let's see.
On my bucket list.
They got that one. They got Devil's Jaw. Y'all know where Devil's Jaw is?
No.
That's in the Great Lakes. It makes up 3 of the Great Lakes. It's called Devil's Jaw because we all know the Bermuda Triangle. So, but there's several of these little triangles around that just seem to be. Yeah, they lost a bunch of planes up there.
The other one? It's over in the Sea of Japan. The other Bermuda Triangle thing.
Japan has lost its mind.
I don't know about.
I think the other one is one of the triangle points on the Pacific one is in Japan, in the Sea of Japan.
Sean has been taken by extraterrestrials. He'll be back shortly, people. Don't worry about it. If you hear screaming,
can you hear me?
You're back now.
Yep, gotcha.
You were being probed by extraterrestrials. We were getting worried. You had this weird smile on your face. You're like, whoa, what's that about?
I had a.
I don't know why you break it up so bad. What's going on? Is it just me? Is he breaking up for you too?
Everything looks good on my side.
Yeah.
No, you're breaking up on mine.
Yeah, you're breaking up on ours.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Why? I wonder why. How am I now?
You get clear for a few minutes and then you start breaking up. It's really weird for some. If it keeps it up, I'll make you reboot or something. But
you're kind of pixelated, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Now you didn't clear it out. Oh nope. There you go back. Oh, I think that's because he's got whatchamacallit on behind him.
He's got a digital background, yeah, but I don't think that's it. When you move back, you fade into the background, but when you move forward, you go out of focus.
Okay. All right. Yeah. No, that's normal for me. I have to.
Mm-hmm. No. But you were breaking up bad a few minutes ago. You cleared up now, so whatever it was.
Okay.
You were looking like a really bad Picasso for a minute there.
Hello, Michelle, if you can hear us out there in Michelle land. Anyway, however, everybody had their Christmas and we had a decent family. I think we had 9-10 people come over. So it wasn't huge, but wasn't small, kind of mid-size. Mm-hmm. And we've had way bigger, we've had way smaller. So it just depends. Everybody had a good time. They didn't wreck my house. So that's a plus. What was it, Janine? No, I mean, well, actually, 2 of my stepdaughters and her husband rented a house across the street from us. We live in a neighborhood where I don't want to call it a rental neighborhood. It's just a resort neighborhood. And when I originally bought this house, it was going to be a weekly rental, but someone talked me out of that. We're not going to mention any names. And anyway, there are a lot of rentals in the neighborhood, though. Probably 2/3 to 80% of all the houses here are rentals, and they some are really expensive. Some there's the cheapest you can find is probably this time of year, probably 180 a night. That's probably cheapest.
That's about the typical hotel stay as
Yeah.
well, but it's one room usually. It's not a suite or
No,
a
no,
house.
these are, but these have minimums. I think you got to do like 3 or 5 day minimums,
Yeah.
and there's always a huge deposit. You know, Airbnbs are notorious for getting big deposits and then taking up to a month to pay them back. You know why they take up to a month to pay them back, Johnny? You know why? Because they're
Why?
collecting interest on your money.
Yeah.
That's all it is. It's just
It's a
an
Ponzi scheme.
It's just, and I don't even know why, because what are they getting, like $13 or something? I mean, come on. I guess if you do it to enough people, but
you think about it, if you have a rental unit and you rent it out, just say 50 people a year, 50 times 13, it stacks up,
Yeah, that's true.
pay that damn electric bill. No, Carolyn, we're going to take a quick break, and then we're going to be back, and then we're going to get into the news. What news? What do you mean? You know, it has been a slow week for news.
Yes, it has. Yes,
it's been a little quiet. There've been some hidden things we're going to talk about, like Joe Biden letting the Chinese run their spy satellite off of our internet.
What?
Yes, we're going to get into that and a few other things that the local morons done, and then we're going to talk a little bit about Humpty Dumpty Trumpty, and and then we'll see where we are at that point. Well, really, that's not. I mean, it's not. I almost brought Wolf on tonight because he got bumped a couple of weeks ago, but I'll talk to him tomorrow and I'll set him up for next Friday and come hang out with us. But what was that, Denise? No, we're going to be on a break. We're going to take a break real quick. What do you mean? What do you mean we just took a break? No, that wasn't coming in. That wasn't a break.
That was the opening theme song.
I said that's just letting you know we're alive and kicking. That's all that was. Yes, actually here and working for a change. But anyway, we'll be. I don't be smart. We'll be right back. We'll see when we get back. Lord, don't give me giggles tonight, man. Come on. Well.
Now let's set the record straight. There's no argument over the choice between peace and war, but there's only one guaranteed way you can have peace, and you can have it in the next second. Surrender. Admittedly, there's a risk in any course we follow other than this, but every lesson of history tells us that the greater risk lies in appeasement, and this is the specter our well-meaning liberal friends refuse to face, that their policy of accommodation is appeasement, and it gives no choice between peace and war. Only between fight or surrender. If we continue to accommodate, continue to back and retreat, eventually we have to face the final demand, the ultimatum. And what then? When Nikita Khrushchev has told his people he knows what our answer will be. He has told them that we're retreating under the pressure of the Cold War, and someday, when the time comes to deliver the final ultimatum, our surrender will be voluntary, because by that time, we will have been weakened from within spiritually, morally, and economically. He believes this because from our side he's heard voices pleading for peace at any price.
Ow.
Or better red than dead. Or as one commentator put it, he'd rather live on his knees than die on his feet. And therein lies the road to war. Because those voices don't speak for the rest of us. You and I know and do not believe that life is so dear and peace so sweet as to be purchased at the price of chains and slavery. If nothing in life is worth dying for, when did this begin? Just in the face of this enemy? Or should Moses have told the children of Israel to live in slavery under the Pharaohs? Should Christ have refused the cross? Should the patriots at Concord Bridge have thrown down their guns and refused to fire the shot heard round the world? The martyrs of history were not fools. And our honored dead, who gave their lives to stop the advance of the Nazis, didn't die in vain. Where then is the road to peace? Well, it's a simple answer after all. You and I have the courage to say to our enemies, there is a price we will not pay. There is a point beyond which they must not advance. Winston Churchill said the destiny of man is not measured by material computations. When great forces are on the move in the world, we learn their spirits.
I don't know who his speechwriter
He
was.
said there's something going on in time and space and beyond.
I know, he didn't write it.
Which, whether we like it or not, spells duty. You and I have a rendezvous with destiny. We'll preserve for our children this, the last best hope of man on earth, or we'll sentence them to take the last step into 1,000 years of darkness.
Uncle Ronald Reagan, huh?
One of the best.
Was that creamy? Well, we play those to remind people. Yes, we play those to remind people that sometimes the past does teach us lessons. In this case, it should have taught us all lessons on how we should treat our enemies and our allies. Unfortunately, Clinton was fine. Clinton understood that China always needed to be kept at arm's length, and anything to do with trading, there should be gaps because eventually they would overtake us. So there should be places that we had options. He understood that. Reagan understood that. Baby Bush wanted to understand it, but he was too busy fighting two wars. And that's pretty much all his legacy is going to be, is fighting two wars. The Twin Towers got blown up, the spy plane got taken, and we just killed hundreds of thousands of people for the 3,100 of ours they killed. Might have went a little overboard. Just a little bit. And then Obama decided while he was president, he was going to kill another 50,000 with drone attacks because I don't know why. I mean, I figured the war should have been over by then, but well, actually, Johnny, Barack Obama did end the war, Iranian war.
After ramping it up and starting another one.
Yeah, he ended the Iraq war. Yes, sort of. Well, we never brought everybody home. It's not like Afghanistan where Biden just tucked tail and ran and left everything. Iraq, we didn't do that in Iraq. No, one, we still have a peacekeeping force, and two, we took all of our shit back. I mean, we were like, except for what we were giving Iraqis. I don't know what this cowardly thing was that Joe Biden did. It was one of the biggest, most cowardly things I've ever seen any leader in our country ever do. Because there was no reason to retreat that way. We weren't having our
how much paper cash did it leave behind? It was like 4 pallets, like $1 billion. Or something.
Yeah, it was a lot. Yeah, it was a lot. We left all kind of weapons, all kind of uniforms. We left all kind of stuff. And for
physical
what?
cash. I mean,
this wasn't Vietnam. This wasn't Hanoi City. In Vietnam, at least the communists were overrunning Hanoi, so we had to leave. But here, this wasn't that. That's not what was going on. We were complete control of everything. Plus, what's even worse is we left behind 30,000 people that worked for us there, that are still there, by the way. They haven't even got them out. And the Afghans want them to leave, or not the Afghans, who's running the place now. They want them to leave, or they're going to kill them. And America's just like, oh, well, you shouldn't have helped us, man. You stupid idiots. It's embarrassing. It shouldn't be like that. We should have already got all them people out of there, even if we had to use force. And then then we go to Israel, modern day Israel. They're holding U.S. prisoners. No one has ever held hostages for this long a period of time before. And yet the media isn't even saying. I mean, they were giving Jimmy Carter so much crap. What was it, 40 days that they had the hostages? And they were giving him so much crap.
It was more than that. It was like 419.
How many ever it was? It was a lot. I remember it was a lot.
It was a long time. It was like 2 years.
But regardless, at least he tried to get him out, even though it was a complete flop. But I remember hearing Reagan on television going, well, one way or another, they will be home the day I get in office. And they were. They released him that day. They said, they released him that day so it would make both presidents look good. No. They released him that way because Jimmy Carter wasn't a murdering crazy bastard like Ronald Reagan and Darth Cheney was. Screwing around with Darth Cheney is suicidal, man. Everybody on the planet should be glad that we didn't go to war with Darth Cheney as vice president.
Why is that, Joe? Why is that?
Because he's an evil bastard. He had no problem killing. He had no problem killing anybody. Go ahead, Jay.
The hostages were held for 444 days from November 4th, 1979 to their release on January 20th, Reagan's inauguration day, 1981.
So what is that? A year and a piece of a year?
79 to 81. That's 2 years. 2 years plus.
No, not 400 days. 365 days in a year.
Well, it says 79 to 81. So I don't know how that.
Oh, because it was like the start.
It's so close to the year to the year. Yeah,
they probably did it like that.
Well, it spans 3 years calendar wise, but it's really only
No, Christopher,
year and a half.
What happened to those helicopters is they weren't equipped for desert maneuvers, and they clogged up their air filters. That's all that happened, by the way.
They were in fact jungle helicopters.
They were.
And the sand from because they had to go so low to stay under the enemy's radar that the rotors kicked sand into the engines and I think almost everybody died. They captured only 5 or 6 people.
Yeah, almost. Yeah, I can't remember exactly, but it was pretty much everybody died in those 2 missions.
It was like 6 or 7.
One of the biggest.
It
was one of the biggest embarrassments ever.
Yeah.
Well, we lost the helicopters. We lost the people.
But Carter didn't decide on what kind of helicopter to send. That's the general's fault.
Oh yeah, it was. I mean, buck stops here is how that works. That's why Carter caught it. But he should have had a better general. Whatever you want to argument you want to make, you can make. But in the end, it was a military call, and I cannot believe any self-respecting general would have sent in those kind of helicopters into a desert situation. But you know what? You know what, though? I don't think they really thought about it that hard, because when we went to the Desert Storm, we screwed up there too. We were having tanks getting clogged up, filters and stuff. We never updated the systems enough to handle that much sand, which you have to kind of wonder, because all the big wars are supposed to be fought in the Middle East. So why wouldn't we be preparing for that? I don't, sometimes I just wonder about the people in charge, the people because everyday people get in charge, and people forget generals are everyday people too. If they're not combat generals, what do they really know about the operations of a tank or a jet or a plane or a helicopter?
Unless that was their job coming through.
Exactly it. If it wasn't, if they were like a flight commander or something like that, then that probably means at one time they were a pilot. So they're probably more familiar. But these guys, and that's another thing. If you were a tanker in World War II compared to a tanker in Iraq, it wasn't even the same game. Iraq tanks can fire on the move, man, and they can fire on the move at 50 miles an hour.
A Cadillac versus a jalopy. The tanks back then were so small. I think even today, if you're 5'9", you can't be in a tank.
Well, that's with the Navy, I think the beds are only 5'10" or something. So if you're over 6 foot, you're uncomfortable. They might be sitting there.
And there's a cap for height for the submarines. You can't be over 5'9" to be on the submarines, right?
No, there's some tall boys on there, brother.
Yeah, they just got to bend a lot. Yeah. Pilots.
What do you call those guys? Bulkhead Billies, because they keep banging their heads.
Pilots generally are probably around the 5'10". They don't really like them any bigger than that in the cockpits, but that's also true, because most Navy ships and most Navy land bunks, I think are either 5'10" or 5'11". So I remember the guys in our company, those guys in there 6'1", 6'2", 6'3", and their freaking legs were just hanging over the edge of the bed. Kind of sucked for them.
The bottom of their feet are hanging out. Yeah, up to the middle of their calves.
It just kind of sucked for them. But what you mean?
Yeah, imagine
Navy bed. Who the hell told you Navy beds were comfortable? Maybe if you was an officer. I got to sleep in 3 different bunks. 3 different style bunks. I got to sleep in the boot camp, which was just a prison bed. Well, most people don't know that Nimitz was a World War II prison, and it pretty much was still a prison when we got there. So we got to sleep on those. And then the ones aboard in Nimitz, until I got promoted to officer, were just ridiculous. It was like, plus you never knew where you were. Sometimes you'd be on top of some armament. Sometimes you might be on some fuel. Navy's a dangerous place to be hanging out. Your bunks were never in safe locations. Oh, no. They were always in locations. If it blew up, you were going to die. Oh, yeah.
When I was on the Independence, my rack, I had the top rack, and the airplane engine machine shop was right on top of me, man.
Oh, joy.
Oh, my God. And it was crazy. No, whoever says
noise 24 hours a day.
Oh, my God. You know what? I was a night baker, and in the daytime, they were just running jet engines, man. I swear to God, I think I got a hearing loss or something like that.
Yeah.
Shit, you might have.
Yeah. I'm going to go and get it checked out through the VA, see if I can get any disability for it.
Well, you might, because that's a lot of noise. And back then,
Yeah.
you didn't have to wear headgear. Now you do.
Yeah. Or hearing protection.
Because I was contacted, this was 4 or 5 years ago, about a suit for plane captains, deck captains, basically. And because a lot of them had hearing problems. But you see, I actually was one of the ones that actually wore the headphones on my head. Because I never understood. A friend of mine goes, well, why? I said, no, I said you could talk to people. I said, so why take them off? I said, unless there wasn't a plane on the deck, why take? Because it doesn't matter. Even if it was a prop plane, it's still unbelievably loud.
Yeah.
And then any jet sitting there tacking up for takeoff, it's just ooh, it's louder and louder, 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 louder until you release it, and then down the runway it goes. And it's not exactly quiet when it's bumbling down the runway either.
Nope.
Oh, people, when they're coming in, sometimes they'll be throttling engines up or throttling engines back. I mean, it's unbelievably loud.
Yes, it is.
even with the headgear on, you can still hear it.
Yeah.
Oh no, we had serious headgear. It's because one, you don't want to train all these people, and then they be deaf and can't do their job. Even though almost everything you do in a flight deck is by hand signals.
Yeah.
What do you mean when I release a pilot? You know how I release the pilot? That's right. You salute him, and then you let your hand go down and out. So you start out like this, and then, and once that hand goes straight, his ass is going. And then no stopping him. The guy behind me just released the catapult, and boom, he's down.
Yeah, and your ass better be on your knees, or
you better be on your knees or be dead. That's right.
Damn.
Be on your knees or be dead.
It's true.
Best be praying to God when that plane goes by, because if not, you're not going to. No, they haven't changed that. No, because the planes are at X amount of heights. It's not just that, because you can get blown over by an engine. I've got knocked on my ass.
The jet wash can push you off the boat.
I was in Alvin Callender Field in New Orleans, and we were working on some A-10s of all things for the Air Force.
Warthogs.
And so I'm sitting out there, you boys. Ooh, we had the huffers on. If y'all know what huffer is, is just a thing you plug into the side of the engine, and it blows air in it to start the engine up. Yeah, that's all it does. No fuel involved. It just
is that because it's a ramjet?
I don't know what it is, but they were a pain in the ass.
Because ramjets need like a certain amount of lowered air pressure before they can start turning.
On a weird side note, before I tell you the rest of the story, so a lot of these guys, we used to have to dive ducts. Diving ducts was you'd go into the duct of the aircraft and look around and see if there was any debris in there, check out the blades and stuff like that. So you'd be surprised how many people got sick doing this. Do you know what happens when you puke inside of a jet engine?
No,
you have to take the jet engine apart.
Oh my God!
Yeah, you got to get all the chunks out.
You got to go, because you don't know what went where. And the newer ones, there's a sealed pan behind it now, so it would probably just blow it out. But no, pretty much even those and I can't tell you how, because the A4s were like this, and it was as long as you were, so you were in the duck. I mean, if somebody started up, you was barbecue, bud, or chop suey. A lot of people got sick. Well, plane captains. See, I was a AEAT, but I was an Airedale. But I was on Airedale. Just means I worked on air stuff. Yeah, everybody's got their little terms when you're in the service.
You were an airhead.
Yeah, so that's right. That's what different people call it. Just like we had the waves and stuff, and your stripes actually or whatever you were wearing told them what you belonged to by the color. The color actually said what you belonged to. Mm-hmm. If they were green, if they were red, you knew they was part of the firefighting brigades in some form or fashion. It's just the way the Navy did it. And that way everybody always knew, you could, at a glance, you knew who was on the deck with you, what departments they represented, what they were probably their skill levels were. So it made your life easier. Don't ask me why they chose me. I showed leadership abilities in boot camp. That's why I got chosen. Yes.
Joe, do you know where Star Trek creator Gene Roddenberry got the idea for the different colored department shirts?
Oh Lord, where?
Carriers.
Well, that would make sense.
On the deck with the red vest,
that would make sense.
And the green vest.
That would make sense, because
the original run of the series, the captain's shirt that you see as yellow most of the time is really what I think the actual name was either pea green or seafoam green, something like that. It's a really almost puke colored green. But when they processed the film, the people at the film lab thought there was something wrong with it, and they're like, "Well, this is supposed to be a yellow shirt," so they would tweak the film to make the shirt look yellow,
make the color they want,
and it was supposed to go the other way to green. So, but he got that idea from seeing the different, that's how they identified people by what department they were by. You got a red guy, a blue guy, a yellow guy, a green guy down there. So that's where they got that from. And I think that's really because he was in the Navy. He was a Navy pilot.
Yeah, Reese, well, nice to meet you. Where you were carrier duty? Who were you with, man? You must be depressed. They done turned the Enterprise into a hunk of junk.
Oh my God, hell yeah, that was. What year were you in, bud? What year?
Because Enterprise has been like 5 years now. She's been decommissioned 6 years.
It's more than that. She was a floating museum in Baltimore Harbor. One of the conventions here.
Oh, 77. So where were you? 73 through 79.
Okay,
you did. That's a pretty good stint. Yeah, well, they rotate people out a lot on carriers, man, or they move them to different carriers. One, they want you to learn to be friends with everybody, but two, you get burnt out sometimes, especially because certain carriers get longer sea duty trips. The Nimitz never ports anywhere. The bitch just floats around unless there's something we got to go. Unless there's something that has to be fixed on it, she never ports. Right. And these new ones, these newer ones we got, they just float around. They just switch out crews. Like the Nimitz had 3 standard crews and 1 backup crew, which were all reservists. So you had 4 different crews that could run that ship at any given time. And because one would be on the thing, one would be in training somewhere, one would be probably at home sleeping, and the other one was reservist. So they were always doing some kind of stupid bullshit.
So I'm not hating on reservists.
Oh, you know what? The submarine people, they had a blue crew and the gold crew.
Yeah.
And they were out for 45 days, and then no matter where they were at, they switched. The blue would leave and the gold would come on. That's how it worked on the subs. Yeah.
You don't want nobody burning out and going crazy.
Yeah.
What's the same rules they had for the people who worked the missile silos? They basically only get 30 to 45 days. I actually knew had a couple of friends that I never worked in missile silos. Whoever told you that was lying. But I did have some friends that worked them. And no, I wish I'd have been there for the UFOs at the missile silo. I'd have been up on the ground. I'd have got fired because I wouldn't have went up on the ground and seen what the hell was going on.
Yeah, I wouldn't have kept my mouth shut. Ain't no way.
No. Oh, I had some friends that were SSs, or what do they call them in the Air Force? They were. See, in the Navy, they're SSs or SPs in the Navy, MPs in the Marines. I guess they're APs in the Air Force. I don't know what the hell they call them.
Air Force Police. I don't know if it's AFP or AP.
Yeah, but anyway, so they had rule. I went to go visit a friend of mine in San Antonio, Texas. There's a big, huge base down there. I mean, it's a huge base. We got a buttload of B-52s parked down there. I hope I just didn't get myself in trouble. So around these B-52s, there's a big yellow line, a big yellow circle, and there's a big red circle. Okay, so if you've got clearance or you've got certain rank, you can walk into the yellow line up to the red circle. Okay. If you cross the red circle without presenting some kind of form that says you can, you're dead. They will not even they will drop you before your second foot touches the ground on the other side of that, you will be on the ground dead. They have orders to shoot anyone who crosses that circle that does not have clearance. And it's rare that anyone's given clearance at weird times. So, usually they'll be informed like the day before or the day after. The day before, 2 days before, hey, you're going to have a visitor here this particular day. This is their name. Here's their stuff. Here's all their paperwork. And then when they come, you check it out, and you can come. Other than that, they kill you. I have seen an SR-71 Blackbird. I've had I've been able to actually get inside of one. You know what? These pilots that fly these things are got to be even astronauts aren't as brave as these bastards are. So, very first time I ever seen an SR-71 was in San Antonio, New Mexico. They were filling it up with hydraulic fluids. And while they were doing it, the son of a bitch was leaking like a sieve. And I'm thinking, I can't put this thing. I'm not kidding y'all, people. This shit was coming out the side of the wings, by the wheels, by the ailerons, by the rudders, by what's the other one that does the aileron, rudder, and there's two of them that go up and down, flaps. So it's just leaking. I'm talking to the guy. I said, "You gonna go fly this?" He said, "It's supposed to do that." I'm like, what do you mean it's supposed to do that?
Leaks like a sieve.
He said, when you hit Mach 3, it tightens up. So I'm talking to this guy, and I can't tell you the rest of the story because I'll get in trouble for this. I mean, I have mentioned this on the air before, so you can go find it. But anyway, so we're talking about Mach 3, Mach 3.5. That's the registered speed of the SR-71 Blackbird, fastest plane in the world.
The body panels will go tink.
Yeah. So, and it does. It expands out, and everything stops leaking, and it just all the seals go together and it flies. Now, I will tell you this: I've seen it come over this base twice with the nose cone glowing red. The nose cone does not glow red at Mach 3.5. That's all I can tell y'all. It has to be substantially faster because with the
5 or 6 or 7 Mach.
Yeah, so the SR-71 is made out of the same material that the F-35s use today. You know, the stealth stuff we use, it's a little bit more advanced today, but it's basically the same thing. So back in the 60s, we had not just stealth capabilities, but the fastest plane in the world. That's still the fastest plane in the world today. So what have we been doing? Have we been just sticking our fingers up our ass for the last 60 years? I mean, what's been going on? I mean, so we capped out in the 60s. I can't even believe that.
Only thing I can think of is that there's another engine that they're using.
It's Jack's
that is not jet propulsion fueled. If that makes sense. It doesn't use. Let's just say it's an engine they're using now that does not use fossil fuel. That's the only thing I can think of. Is why they're not making engines faster. Because you're right. Today, and I don't know if this is still true, but the SR-71, when it flies, especially when it flies from California to New York or vice versa, it breaks its own previous record every time it goes. How does that happen? I mean, that engine should have a peak, but it keeps on peaking itself every time they fly it.
Well, you know, I've been looking at some of these new Mach 2, Mach 3 planes. We're talking about flying back and forth between Europe and the United States. So let me get this straight. We can build a Mach 2, Mach 3 tourist jet, but nobody's got a fighter jet like that? Come on. What is going on here, man? I am just confused. Oh, no, the Concorde, when the Concorde was built, people, it was state of the art, and it was actually faster than a lot of American and Russian jets. I know it's sad. And not just that, it was big enough to carry a shitload of people. So that means it could carry a shitload of nuclear bombs.
Anytime they showed that plane, the Concorde, on the news, it always said SST Concorde. Does anyone know what the SST is?
Nope.
Supersonic transport.
Oh, wow.
I don't know how to say it in French, but it's SST, supersonic transport, the Concorde. Yes. And they stopped flying those.
Yeah, they did, because they had one of them blew up. Yes, one of them blew up or some shit.
Yeah.
They had two, and one had a minor accident. But, I mean, they'd been flying for like 20 years. And, I mean, we're talking about 70s technology that was still flying in the 90s. You know, people, 70s technology was – I don't want to hate on the 70s because, you know, I spent time in the 70s. But the technology back then was –
We all did, Joe.
I'm just saying the technologies back then were not as good as they are today. I mean, we've got composite materials now.
Bell-bottom pants.
Well, bell-bottoms are the best. But, hey, you just join the Navy and you can still have bell-bottom pants. So I remember I went to a dance. This is like 81, I think. It was before I met my wife. And I went to this dance. And the girl's like, you know, bell bottoms are out of style. I said, no. And I lifted up my shirt and I said, you see the 13 buttons? And she's like, what the hell is that? I said, this is Navy pants, baby. These never go out of style. and then after that, once I showed them 13 buttons, they were like, everybody in the fucking room was talking about, wow, that is crazy. And it is, people. Don't ask me why the Navy tortures you like that. No. I have no idea what it's about. But I'm telling you, fat, skinny in between, they're so tight. You don't even have pockets on them. They got this little thing they call a pocket. And then on the shirt, there's a little pocket up inside the breast somewhere. It's like this big too. I'm like, you know, they don't want you losing your money. That's why it is.
Yeah, I think that pocket that's up here, that's for your bosun's pipe.
Speaking of the pants, whenever I would wear my uniform out. Honest to God, we only button the 2 top buttons and the bottom 2.
Because it's a federal project to button all 13 of them buttons.
Honest to God, and you have to go to the bathroom that fast. You just button the top 2.
I know, huh?
You're good. 13 buttons. That's
my girlfriend button them. Anyway, it's it was always interesting. It was always interesting part. So anyway, let's get back to Uncle Cracker Biden for a minute. No, we're supposed to be taking a break. But we're going to talk about Biden for a minute. So I'm reading. So a friend of mine sends me this article about our internet in China. I'm like, okay, so China used our internet. Ooh, big deal. Oh no, but they use it to drive their spy satellite. I'm like, wait a minute. I said, I had to go back and read it again. I said, there's no way that the effing moron we call a president of the United States gave China access to crucial internet, no less, to drive one of their spy satellites. Now, if that's not proof that this man's compromised, I don't know what else you need. I mean, I really don't.
Did he actually do that, or is that just a rumor?
No, it came out. The first place I seen it was, I think, on Mark had sent it to me, but I think the first place it referred me to, I think it was NBC or something. I'll find it while we're talking because I think I have them all on the. I think I put them all on the site when we did the show. I usually put a lot of the links we're going to talk about. I usually put on the show. Let me go see if I can find it. Oh yeah, of course you're going to make it where I can't read anything.
That's crazy, man.
Spycraft reportedly received communications from China. Wait, this might be something different. We might have stumbled on something. Damn it. Sorry, guys, I'm cussing now. What the hell is this one? Yeah, y'all stop spamming me all at one time. There's too many links to keep up with. Let me see if I can pull this one. Control copy, baby. Oh, yeah, control copy me. Ooh, mama. Don't get all roughed up now just because I'm talking like that. Jack needs a woman. Yeah, and who's Jack? Jashawn's Jack. I thought y'all already knew that. People, don't make me have to correct y'all again. Oh, don't let me forget. We got to talk about Governor Hochul. She actually did something good for a change, which I'm star. Oh, well, what the hell is this? Wait a minute. We might play this. Is this on? Where is this? Is on this on? Hold on. We got to go put this on Google because StreamYard does not like Microsoft. I'm not exactly sure why. Probably because they're smart, but no, I didn't say that out loud, did I? Damn. So I got to learn not to say some things out loud. Well, I like Bill Gates. He feeds us stuff and gives us weird GMOs and buys all the potatoes in the world up and shit. So, he's no. Well, we can talk about that too. But the McDonald's thing, we'll talk about that in a minute. But anyway, let me cue this up. Right quick, let's hit present. No, I heard about. First off, McDonald's has taken all of their self-serve fountains out. Yeah, they're getting rid of all of them, and then they're opening up more completely automated stores. Yeah, screw you people. Wow. So all I can tell you should never eat at an automated store because you're taking somebody's job away from them. And if you don't eat there, they will go away. Uh-huh. And your grandkid will have a job and can stop asking your grandpa, can I have some money?
Hey, maybe we ought to do a challenge like a JFK challenge. See if we can all stop eating at McDonald's and watch that so many billion number go.
If that happens, Jay, me, you, and Jack, if that actually happens, me, you, and Jack will be so rich it won't even be funny.
Yeah,
we'll be dead one or the other.
Ronald McDonald will come and murder us in our sleep.
Yes, there was clown hairs on at the. Red clown hairs at that were found on the location. Anyway, let me post this. Hold on, guys.
Red nose prints on the window.
Oh, yes. Oh, shit. No, we're not drinking.
I don't think the leadership knew where it was and knew what was in it and knew what was going on. I think it was more embarrassing than it was intentional. It's not a major breach.
With Beijing,
oh, this is about the balloon.
Is over. Water under the bridge.
We did what we needed to do to protect our interests. That chapter should be closed.
President Biden and his administration downplaying the threat posed by that Chinese spy flight earlier this year. But now a disturbing new report from NBC News reveals that U.S. intelligence officials have determined the spy flight used a U.S. internet service provider to send and receive communications with China. Let's bring in retired Rear Admiral Mark Montgomery. Mark, thank you for being here. I appreciate it. Let's start off with this NBC News report. It says that this spycraft was connected to an unnamed, in the report, U.S. internet service provider communicating in real time. What do you make of this new report, and what does this tell us about the capability of that spy craft?
So I think this is a good news, bad news thing. I mean, the bad news is clearly they were probably able to communicate data that they detected and received during their overflight of nearly a week around the United States. And clearly they flew over significantly, strategic bases. And so that should concern us. On the good news side, I would hope that we took full advantage of this to exploit their communications, take a look at what they were transmitting back, and get an idea of first what they were trying to collect, and second, how they, methodology for controlling the balloon, what they were searching for, what they saw when we were trying to cover things up. So there probably was a good counterintelligence value to this. But let's not get away from the major fact, which is that the Chinese clearly were doing a dedicated spying mission over us for more than a week. And unlike what the president said, the Chinese knew where this balloon was at all times.
Yeah, and I wanted to know about your concern about connecting to a U.S. internet company. What does this say about the ability for foreign actors like China to connect to our internet like that? And what kind of concern do you see in that?
Well, I'll combine this with the recent reporting of China placing malicious software or malware in our telecommunication systems, electrical power grids, water, oil and natural gas, both in Guam, but also in the continental United States. What that tells me is they're doing what's called operational preparation of the environment. That's where they're taking a look at the cyber battlefield and getting themselves integrated in a way to use it. The spy balloon took advantage of that ability to integrate into our networks. But probably even more concerning are these reports of malicious software being in there, because that can help them during a crisis or contingency impact U.S. critical infrastructure.
What about these reports here about the fact that you have U.S. intelligence officials who say they're concerned? Well, actually, let's backtrack. Now that we know this, and we now know that an NBC News report that the administration wanted to keep this secret from the American people, and that they applied for the FISA order to try to get information from this spy craft. We don't know if it was approved, but what does it tell you that the administration was reportedly trying to keep this completely secret, knowing what we know now, particularly about the internet service provider, and despite the fact that the administration says that there was no additive value that this spy craft took from us?
So two things. One, first, I would say there probably is a legitimate desire for the Chinese not to know everything we know. I'll give the administration a little bit of credit for that. When you're doing counterintelligence, that's a value. But I think also the administration was trying to hide that we had a major intelligence failure and not understanding where this balloon was headed, when it was still approaching Alaska, and what its intentions were. And General Van Herk, the U.S. Northern Command, NORAD commander at the time, has admitted as such that we had a significant intelligence failure. And I do think some of the reticence to discuss this by the Biden administration is they don't like to talk about their failures.
Yeah, and General Van Herk has warned that we still do not have the capability of seeing these spy craft beyond our U.S. territory. He would like,
because we're looking at them from below instead of from above, you morons.
According to him, improved to the point where he would like to see it. So we shall see. Rear Admiral Mark Montgomery, thank you.
Some things are so simple. So 3 decades ago, I said, there's water on Mars, there's water on the moon, it's going to be easy to find. No. Everybody said I was crazy. Of course, now they found them both places. You just kind of got to go, yeah, apparently I'm not as stupid as I look. But there's been lots of these things over the years that seems to be just what I would call things that you just should know. I mean, just stuff that common sense. And yet somehow or another, we missed these things. So I've been saying for 40 years.
Going back to the Mars thing real quick, Joe, I said the same thing. Even back in the 80s, we didn't know for sure. We didn't even have, I'm not even sure if they had solid plans to send anything to Mars at that point, but they were hoping for it. But there was always those pictures of the polar ice caps.
Yeah, and they knew they melted and grew.
Like, well, we don't know if there's water there. Well, dude, if there's ice, there's water.
Yes, well, because they knew that. So, ladies and gentlemen, most people don't even know this, but Mars has seasons. In case y'all didn't know this, yes, like Earth, they have seasons, and the ice caps recede and grow. The reason they didn't want you to know the ice caps melt is, one, it produces water, but two, they have found out when it melts that this black green shit looks like it's growing all over the place. It uncovers what looks to be some type of plant life. And so they don't want to really talk about that too much, even though now they're starting to admit more and more that we're going to find life in our own solar system. So that's a plus. But now I'll talk about that on another show, because I've been talking about desensitization for 30 years. But it's like the galaxy. It's like the Big Bang. So I'm an amateur astronomer. Now, the first time I heard about the Big Bang, I'm like, well, I'm confused. And she's like, well, what do you mean you're confused? I'm like, well, we have clusters of galaxies that are clumped together. I said, if we had one big explosion and everything went whoosh, they wouldn't be clumping. Something's drawing them together. Something's making them clump. Something from day one has these galaxies clumping together. So the Big Bang really doesn't work. So today, after I've been bitching about this for 40 years, they came out and said, oh, because we found in large groups of galaxies clumping together, the Big Bang theory probably doesn't work. Now, I mean, this is common sense when you see this. When you look at the sky and you understand what the Big Bang theory actually says, then you know as soon as you see these clumps that it can't be a Big Bang.
Well, also,
at least not the way they think of it.
The Hubble telescope, before what's the new one's the James Webb, so that's a cool one. But when we sent the Hubble up after we fixed it, they determined that not only are there huge clusters, I mean, there's that one deep field of it's. I don't know how far away it is, but it's so far away we'll never get there in our lifetime. But it's hundreds of thousands of galaxies in this field of view of this camera. There isn't a single black mark that indicates a vast area of space. But they determined also that not only is the galaxies clumping together, but some are slowing down and some are speeding up.
Yeah, which also goes against the Big Bang.
If there's an explosion, though,
we should be traveling at the same speed.
At this, well, the further stuff out might be going down, but it would be evenly dispersed, and it would be all traveling in a radius from the center.
And according to,
you can track it back to a source.
And according to the astronomers, the stuff out on the edge is actually moving faster now. I was like, really? And how do you actually know this? You can't even see the edge of what's going this way, meaning they're talking about the other edge, not the edge where we blew up, but the edge that's ahead of us that we don't know where it actually exists at, because we don't even know if it does exist. We can't see that formation. Right now, we can see 14 billion years back in space. I think they said with James, we can get closer to 18. Regardless, it's not the start of the universe. We're finding out more and more every day that it's not the start of the universe. One, the way galaxies were supposed to look at the very beginning of the universe, they don't look that way. They actually are galaxies intact. It wasn't supposed to look like that. So a lot of what they thought they were going to find, they didn't. It was like Pluto. You remember when we found Pluto and nothing, when Pluto was what they thought was going to be on Pluto? That was actually great. I love that. But this is the same thing. And these clusters of galaxies are clumping together and they're rotating together, and they're not getting closer to each other, not getting further away. It's like they've found a happy. So you've got like 8, 10, 12 galaxies, sometimes 3 or 4, but most of the time they're bigger than that. And they're all just going through space as one clump, which means for countries, for worlds like ours, it would be much more intriguing, because the odds are of getting to one of them is possible.
And
Andromeda is the closest thing.
That these galaxies have somehow found the Lagrange point of each other's gravity wells, so they remain a relative same distance from each other, but they're all going the same direction.
Yep,
that's because there is a thing called the Lagrange point. If you could achieve the Lagrange point on a planet as an orbital thing, you maintain the same relative spot over that planet as it travels, and for the most part, you can. For a technologically advanced society like us, you could hide from us doing something like that.
Yes, and then there's the things that if you're traveling in space, you can now use these big bodies of gravity to propel your craft. Mm-hmm. There's big advantages to it, and it doesn't come out to anything that our scientists said it was going to be. So, I've said this. People get mad at me when I say this, especially when I'm doing lectures. Science is wrong more than it's right. Just deal with it. It is. Science is great. We need science.
The perfect example for that is, and I use this example all the time, especially when a teacher or a scientist who's renowned in their field says no to some possibility that you might have a theory on. They're almost always wrong. And the way it works is this: 1957. It's also, by the way, when the internet began. People like Jacques Cousteau and other marine biologists. Ecologists and other just earth science guys got together and built a bath escape, and I think they called it the Trieste. This device went all the way down to the bottom of the ocean and was going to collect samples. But before they had the sub built, they had two sides on the camp. One side said there's nothing going to be down there. The water's too dense, it's too cold, no light, all kind of. And they said even at that pressure, the water's probably closer to ammonia than water. The other side of the camp said, well, we're going to find something like a bacteria, a virus, maybe it's a mold or a mildew. So we'll find something. Well, what do you think they found when they got down there?
Giant squid.
Shark.
No, but they did find a bony fish, a fish that was very similar to a flounder or sole type of flat fish, which has no color on one side, all the colors on the top, and then like 6 sets of eyes. And they scared that fish, and it scared up so much silt that they could no longer see to navigate. And being that they were in a unknown area, they decided to cut the trip short. But they were expecting on one side of the camp nothing at all or minimal. And we have since then found huge, vast, different ecologies all across the ocean down there 9 miles.
Oh, yeah. And well, do with this, people. Some of the deepest places on Earth is off of the New Zealand coast. And guess what lives there? Massive mega great whites and massive mega
megalodons.
They have some of the largest giant squid ever seen live there.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Big enough to take on.
I'll bet you Sean's right. I bet you megalodon are down there as well. We're probably so far that we don't get to them, but they're probably eating on the big squid and some of the great whites.
I know they found the body of one squid. It was 50-something feet long. And I said, well, what the record was?
50. At the Smithsonian up here in Washington, D.C., I'm only about an hour from it. Well, 66 miles by the crow flies. In the Museum of Natural History, you walk in and they have this thing called the Rotunda, and there's a statue of a mastodon. Well, woolly mammoth. If you go to the right is like gems in natural sciences. If you go to the left is under the water. And you walk underneath this it's like a horseshoe-shaped room, the underwater thing. You first walk under a scale model of a blue whale. It takes up the entire ceiling.
Yeah.
And as you come around to the end of the exhibit, there's a 65-foot long, basically it's like a beaker, a sealed beaker with a dead giant squid in it. And I had seen this thing when I was a little kid I don't know how many times I went there. And people say, well, they don't exist. The museum has one in a locker on the floor. Everyone can, it's 65 feet long.
I did not know that.
I've known since I was a kid that they were real. They'd never seen one alive.
Well, there's a lot of stuff that we think may or may not be around still. You would think as many humans on a planet, but still a lot of places these would exist. Humans still don't know. There's a lot of
deep wilderness. I mean, there's Mokele Mbembe in Africa. There's an alleged either a Brontosaurus, Stegosaurus, or Dimetrodon, depending on who you talk to and how they describe it.
Yeah.
You know what, Jay? I wish I had you in high school, dude. Because you were like a walking encyclopedia of stuff. And it's like insane.
People hate asking me questions because you don't get yes, no, maybe, I don't know. Unless it's like, do you want to go out? I don't know. You ask me a question that requires an answer, you get an encyclopedia response. Yeah.
And I've noticed that. And I really enjoy it. I mean, I learned a lot from you and Joe all the time. That's why I'm on this show.
Thank you.
To learn.
Awesome. That's great. Thanks.
Kirby, man. Yeah, well, I like to be intelligent when I can be. Kirby, no, that's why we played that, because you heard what I was telling Jay before I played it. So it wasn't even half correct. It was like a third correct. So the original story aired with NBC, and then it went through CNN, and then I got a copy of it. So I was actually reading part of it when we were talking. Well, we played this, and this is what they were actually talking about. It wasn't that Joe Biden gave someone thing, that it was simply the fact, well, maybe he did. I don't know, because he's corrupt. But regardless, that's not what the story turned out to be. The story was about the balloon and how they used our internet. So,
and whether that's a threat. I mean, clearly it is.
But the point being, people, is you never know what's true and what's not, and you always have to check it out. you'll notice that sometimes we'll pull 3 or 4 different sources on here, and it's just mainly because we want to make sure that what we're telling you is correct. There's a lot of stories we cross through, and we just like to know that they're correct. And just because they come from NBC, CNN, or Fox doesn't mean that they're correct. Now, if you pull them from 6 or 7 different large medias and 1 or 2 of the small ones, then more than likely they're at least close to correct. But you've seen this when we just aired. This one about the Chinese and the internet wasn't but a third correct. You know how it was correct? They did do the internet, and it was the Chinese. The rest of the story that CNN aired was not even correct. It was basically a false story. And what bothers me about that is these are big companies. How can they make? I mean, we corrected the mistake right here on the show in less than 2 minutes. How can they make these kind of freaking mistakes?
Well, it's sensationalism. They're trying to get viewers, but who's in control of the internet anyway? Why would it be the president that would give them permission to use it? If he did something like that said, why him?
Well, because technically,
it's technology. I mean,
well, no, technically,
like the FCC or something?
it's Al Gore invented it. And he was a
that.
liberal, man, so he's got to have permission. It's no, so it's not supposed. So when you surf the internet, even when you're surfing overseas, you're still surfing on American internet. It's rare that you're going to get on an overseas server. You can if you know the ways around to do it, but usually it's same thing for them. When they're surfing, they're usually surfing on their internet and our sites. They're pulling it across to their internet. What do you mean? Why do they do that? Because countries have different rules about internet. Like, so some of Twitter or X is not allowed in certain places in Europe because they don't like the way he does it. He doesn't tell people if they're wrong or if they're right. He just lets you say whatever you want.
Same with Facebook and other social media, like certain former Russian states. The controls on their servers is you can't get to certain things like, Snapchat and Facebook, and probably can't even get to Google. What you get there is whatever they put.
It's funny.
So you can use their information systems.
Do y'all know how many countries ban TikTok and we don't?
No.
Yeah, there's a shitload of countries that ban TikTok because it's Chinese owned, and they've been caught meddling around, taking people's credit card information, stuff like that. No telling what else TikTok's doing. But you know what, guys? In all fairness, see, we're one of the few stations in the world that go to more than 180 countries. Sometimes there's a couple of shows that go to every country in the world, but on average, we broadcast to more than 160 to 180 countries. BBC can't do that. You want to know why?
Like 270 countries on this planet currently.
So you want to know why BBC can't do that? Because BBC is banned from the entire Middle East, and we're not. We go to Iran, Iraq. We even go to North Korea. They're banned from those places too. They're banned from Russia. They're banned from China. BBC is banned from probably 50 countries. So they can't go there, but guess what? We can.
Yep.
Yeah. And you know what? Sometimes we're way dickier than they are, and still we can go. Well, because, like, put it for instance, I tear up China all the time. I don't tear up Xi Jinping because really and truly, he's one of the entire big problem over this. I can leave him alone. Besides, in a way, I like Ping Xi because there's some things he did early on when he was young that let me know that in the back of his head, he knows democracy works. He also knows there's nothing he can do about it because he lives in a communist country. Well, he likes that control too and that power. Don't get me wrong. But in a lot of ways, he understands what makes him dangerous is he understands Americans. He lived here. He did some schooling here. He went to school abroad. Most of his school is in China, but he's well educated. He's not stupid, and he's got a lot of power under his belt. And he understands that technology is going to change the world.
Surface area wise, he's in control of the largest country.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, no.
Russia broke up. Aren't they the
No. Russia's still 1. China's 2. We're 3.
Okay.
Brazil's 4, I think. They're somewhere down there. Alexa,
big.
where does China rank in largest countries, land-wise?
According to an Alexa Answers contributor, in land size, China is the second largest country after Russia. That said, China is the country with the largest population.
We know it's got the largest population.
Mm-hmm.
So they're saying it's second after Russia. That's what Alexa's saying, but I'd have to double check that, people. Well, we'll check it while we're on air, but it's Alexa's kind of like Wikipedia. she ain't always right.
Yeah.
She got some issues sometimes.
Yep.
And no, I like her. We use her. I mean, we use her on air. I mean, actually, Amazon should be paying us for this.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe we should get it. We should get a chunk of money out of that. I know, Chris, we're going to go to break in a second, but no, I use Alexa for things. I use other things. I have Cortana on one of my pads. I used to have it on my phone. I mean, not Cortana, Siri. I got Cortana on this phone.
Yeah, Cortana's on the Lenovo's, the IBM computers.
Yeah, it's a Microsoft thing, people. Yeah, I'm sorry. No, it's not a Google. I don't know. Maybe you can put it on Google. I don't want to say you can if you can. I've never tried. I don't like Google phones. I'm not going to lie to y'all. I've never had any luck with Google phones. They've always been crappy. They must all be Chinese made or something. But
90% of our cell phones are Chinese made.
No, my phones come from Japan, buddy. I don't know what you're talking about. Japan got some skills, man. Them Chinese phones are junk. What do you mean? Japan builds far better than
and it's a piece of junk. I mean, it's I hate it.
Oh, you know what you did? You screwed up. So you got the 300, right?
Yeah.
So I got the plus 130.
Yeah.
So this one came with 258 megs of RAM, 60,000 megapixels with the 5 cameras on it. It is one of the fastest 8 cores I've ever seen in my life. I'm not thinking it might even actually be more than 8 cores. The reason I got it is my wife's got the 20, and she's notorious for killing phones, right? On the keypads. Well, she hasn't killed this one. It still runs good. I was going to get me a new iPhone i14, so I compared the two side by side. One, look how big this phone is. People, this thing is huge. It's almost 7 inches. It's a big phone. So it's got, and you see the multiple cameras it's got on the back, but it also has built-in slow motion, built-in,
dual camera.
Yeah, so it's not quite the same thing, but yeah, because I went through it because there was 4 of them available, and the 300 was one of them. When I read about it, I said, it's not going to do me. I might as well get the 14. And but when I put this one up against the i14, it killed the i15 for that matter. Plus, one of the nice things about Droids is most of the apps are free, whereas with iPhone they are not. And iPhone even sometimes wants a weekly thing. I'm like, wait, you want a weekly subscription? What? I'm not buying anything weekly from any. No. And then it's like $7 or $8. So they want like $50 a month. So I was going to get the hard app, the one that checks your heartbeat and all of that, right? So it would have cost me $50 a month to get the good one on iPhone. You know what it cost me to put it on my Droid? Same app, by the way. Ooh, big zero. Big zero. Yes. Because there's so much more competition on Droids. There's so many more Droids than there are iPhones. A friend of mine the other day said, oh, there's way more iPhones than Droids. I said, do you know how many companies make Droids? He's like, wait, no, one. I'm like, no, what are you talking about?
All other companies make Android phones.
Yeah.
Only Apple makes Apple phones.
I said, iPhone is an Apple phone and everything else is Droid. Oh, no, Google's are not Droids. I said, yes, Google's are most certainly Droid. So what the hell are you talking about, man? Everything else is Droid.
Look, go to any cell phone company website, shop cell phones, and then in a little navigation bar is when it says, click type of phone, click Android, count how many phones show up. Then go over and click Apple. See how many companies show up. You will see the difference. You'll probably have, I would think maybe in iPhones at any one given time, there's maybe 5 or 6 models available in the store online. You go to the Droids, you've got 15 companies maybe, and each company makes 5, 6, 8, 9, 10 different models. Way more Android phones.
So they've actually said this has changed because China has acquired some extra land somewhere. I wonder where that is. So Russia is number one. Russia is so much bigger than everybody else. It's not even funny. They are 17,000 or 17 million, whatever it is, kilometers of area. Canada is next at 9,984. China follows them at 9,576, and the United States follows them at 9,456. And Brazil was so those 4 countries, Canada, China, United States, and Brazil, are all pretty much the same size. And even Australia. And then after that, it drops significantly. So think about this. China's living on 9,606 and with 1.4 billion people. India is living with 1.3 billion people on 3.2.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
half the freaking size.
Also, look at this. Look at the livable, arable areas in those countries.
I know.
We have way more arable area. We have way more places where we can grow crops than they do. Look at Russia. They have on the either side, they're okay. In the middle, where that the permafrost is, there's nothing there. You can't. You could live there, but it's not arable. You have to import all of your food sources.
So, land mass wise, China and the United States are exactly the same size, 6.1%. No, Canada and the United States are 6.1%. China is 6.3%. I got to go look at China. I've never remembered. I've seen the maps of China. It's not that huge. And most of it's at least half or more is mountains.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not seeing now. United States and Canada and Brazil have a lot of land they can plant.
They also have the Gobi Desert. It takes up, you can't. That's not arable land. It's desiccated. That's like the third largest desert, isn't it? The Gobi.
Yeah, I think.
Hey Google, what's the third large? Hey Google, what's the size of the Gobi Desert?
The surface area of the Gobi Desert is 500,000 square miles.
500,000 square miles.
Wow.
That's big. Look at the Brits with just 242,000. Up here, American we're at 9 million. It's poor Brits, man. Now, when you do these, it does include lakes, reservoirs, rivers, and mountains. So if you take all of that out, those land masses are going to change drastically. Well, remember, people, half of a quarter of the United States on top is lakes, and then we got a big fault line that runs through the middle of the country that splits it in half. Y'all didn't know that? No, really, we have a big fault. Y'all didn't know that? It's called the Mississippi River.
Yep.
Oh, y'all didn't know it was a fault line, huh?
There's also the Continental Divide where you can see where the two plates have mashed. I've been to that. That's cool, and it goes. It's essentially a straight line. You can't see the end of.
They what's that, Bruce? No, I'm not giving any money to Wikipedia. No, and people, y'all shouldn't give them either. Wikipedia got themselves in the problem they're in today because they just allowed anybody to do it, put whatever bullshit they wanted. So I don't have a page on Wiki because every time I put one up, they say it's self-promotion and they take it down. Even though there's thousands of them, I have no idea. So Wiki's always going to be on the bottom of my list. Yes. So here you go. This is land-wise, usable land in Russia is 6.6 million. Canada, it's 4 million. China, so all of China's land is usable. No, I'm sorry. Only 3.7 million in China is usable. The United States is a little over 4. Brazil, it's about the same as China's. Australia is about 3. Well, that's when you see those numbers, that's the numbers where they can plant. You got to remember, people, some of these cities have taken over. So we're not even taking into consideration what cities. So in China, even if China has 9 million acres or how many, whatever this is, they have 1.4 billion people living there. That's a lot of land mass being taken up. Now, in the cities, it's big, huge amounts of land mass in places like Hong Kong and Beijing. I mean, Hong Kong's just, the island is just one big city. Yeah. I did see the article in Taiwan today, and the Taiwanian governments all the way around have now. So China used to have friends in Taiwan. Something's happened, and they've lost those friends. And they did a big poll with the people who live in Taiwan the other day, and Taiwan said they would rather not have anything to do with China. So Biden got backed into a corner day before yesterday and was asked, what happened was, let me get the story so you'll know the whole story. So a couple of days ago, an admiral, United States admiral, was asked, what will we do if China invaded Taiwan? He said we would sink all their ships and immediately put the Marines on ground. So, of course, hearing that, the news lady instantly got hold of Joe Biden and asked Joe Biden, is that what we would do? And he said, well, we'd have to go through the Pentagon and they would have to make a decision, but we can't let China have Taiwan. So I'm kind of, and it's not because, see, he has to say that because the main reason why is Taiwan still right now is making most of our chips. And when I mean chips, people, I'm not talking about the chip that goes in your phone or the chip that goes in your car. I'm talking about the chip that goes in the F-35 fighter.
Plane,
these are serious chips.
Gear.
This is by China's own admittance. They're 20 years behind on this technology. We cannot let them have this technology. We would technically, by all purposes, if we knew we were going to lose Taiwan, we should nuke the whole island. Yeah, it would suck and the world would be pissed, but you cannot let China have that kind of technology because they would instantly put it to use. Mm-hmm. You mean, do I think we're going to go to war? Which it's more likely that we'll get into it with Russia first. So right now, I'm going to tell you what's going on in the world. Right now, they're trying to stretch America out. Okay. You've got Iran pulling shit. You've got, you got stuff in the Middle East going on with Hezbollah and Hamas and all of them. You've got North Korea threatening to start a war. So there's two different parts of the world being unstable. You got Russia already starting in a war. And if Taiwan invades China, so there'll be 4 wars going on, which is stretching the U.S.'s resources. Now, we're really the only country in the world that could actually actively fight in 4 wars at one time. Of course, we'd have to pull half the country in to do it. And but our troops are much better trained than theirs are. And China knows that our pilots and our ground troops are better trained than theirs are simply because we've been at war. You want a chance getting into a fight with the United States when the odds of you winning are because in the end, they only got 800 nukes and we'll just shoot them bitches out the air. And I guarantee you when we nuke Beijing and we kill 250 million people, China's going to surrender, or the world's going to force them into surrender. Mm-hmm. What do you mean we won't do that? What the hell are you talking about? We nuked Hiroshima and Nagasaki. Do not think we won't. You know what? We know we won't nuke Hong Kong because Hong Kong has as many as Americans and Brits in it as it has Chinese. But we will.
And there's a lot of manufacturing there that we would rather take over rather than scorch. Yes.
We might use we might use on Hong Kong as a neutron bomb, so that way we can reclaim everything. Yes. The neutron bomb don't damage anything. It's not even an EMP pulse. No, it's just sheer radiation. It'll spread out for about 30 miles in every direction. It starts out with 1 mile, and it just kind of And after a couple of weeks, it'll be out a good 30 miles. It'll kill everything, and then after about 18 months, you can move in and take over. They're using the radiation. The half life is very small, but the type of radiation is it spreads very fast. This is something. This is not a new technology, people. For a long time, all I ever heard was a neutron bomb was fake, and we never owned one. And then a friend of mine who was still in the Navy said they gave us a neutron bomb aboard the ship. Means that one of the ships he was on actually had one on board. I wouldn't want to screw with them because they don't kill anything. They don't. All they do is irradiate everything. It only kills living things. All your electronics will still be intact. Your buildings will be intact. You may have
all
to change
plant life and animal life in a certain radius will be dead.
Yeah,
but
everything else will be there. And then Jack can move in with his new family, his 5 wives and his 32 kids, and have a good old life. Actually, Christopher, that is true. They do have land up for sale near Chernobyl. They surely do. Actually, inside the death zone. That's the Ukrainians have Chernobyl because they're saying that it's clear that the radiation's clean and it's not really there. And there's a lot of people, even the U.S. has tested it. Well, I should say the EU has tested it. And they're saying that it's pretty much safe. And even though there's weird mutant dogs running around and other mutant animals running around.
Three-eyed fish.
Yeah, they're saying that you can move back there. And the land's really cheap. It's like 50 cents an acre or something.
Well, of course it is, because after your first year there, you grow an arm out of your back.
You know. Well, let's put it this way. I wouldn't want to raise my kids there, guys.
No.
Well, no, I mean, it has been, legitimately, it's been,
maybe
what, 30
years? Maybe for the twilight years, in my retiring years, 70 to 80, 90, yeah. I don't mind if the radiation kills me. I don't know, it's been 30 or 40 years since Chernobyl. 30 for sure. At least it was in the 80s.
Lisa, you're talking about 3 Mile Island. That's what you're talking about.
That was also in the 80s.
For me, brother.
Yes, these guys. That's why these guys are both bald, because they would live by 3 Mile Island.
Chernobyl accident, 1986.
That was terrible. That was scary. That was real scary.
Yeah, 1986 for that. 3 Mile Island, March 1979. So just before the 80s.
Yes.
That was bad. That really put the fear of God into everybody here in Pittsburgh. It
should have, because it was dangerous.
Yep.
No, Desina. No, 3 Mile Island wasn't an explosion. What happened was
the meltdown.
They said they accidentally released it into the atmosphere. That the containment system, because it had a meltdown and they were containing it. Not a real meltdown, not the kind that does a China syndrome, but a meltdown where the reactor itself melted out. The core rods actually melted, and then they were supposed to contain it and run the air through the air system, but for some reason or another, they couldn't contain it because it was probably going to go kaboom, so they had to release it into the atmosphere. And then they lied about how much they released, and of course, when they started testing everything around there, they realized way more was released than they originally said. It was a dangerous thing. If the thing would have went boom, it would have killed a lot of people all over the place.
I would not be here today.
Yeah, I probably wouldn't be either. It would have gone as far as D.C.
And what you said, Marine, that's why you don't live next to a nuclear plant. I bet you $500 that you live within 25 miles of a nuclear power plant. I don't care where you live. You live in Egypt. I bet you live within 25 miles of a nuclear power plant. Most Americans have no idea how many nuclear power plants there are in the United States. Where I'm living right now on the Gulf Coast, I live near 3 of them. There's Taft in Louisiana, which is about 70 miles from here. No, I'm sorry, it's not even that far. It's about 40 miles from here. There's one right above me, which is about 35 miles from here. And there's one down the coast, which is about 20 miles from here. Yes, all producing and all been here a while and never had any, knock on wood, any problems. Because when they're built right and they're operated right, you don't have to worry about them. They are clean, efficient fuel.
Yeah, if you don't skimp on the pay and everyone does their job correctly, you have a guy like Homer Simpson, and yeah, boom, you got 3 Mile, and you got Chernobyl all over again.
Well, originally they were going to start putting the nuclear material and shooting it into the sun, and that way it just got melted. Well, the thing of it is, it would have never got to the sun. It would have melted long before it ever got to the sun.
Did you hear?
The crap won't even get to it. Yeah.
Did you hear what AOC said?
No, I haven't heard her in a while.
My God, dude! She was being interviewed, and she said, well, we should go and take a trip to the sun and get some stuff from, get some material from the sun. But we know it's really hot. So, quote unquote, she said, well, we'll wait till it gets dark out.
I want whatever kind of drug she's on, she needs to share with the rest of the country.
That's not the way to go. I want to find out which public school system she went through and penalize them. Someone failed that woman,
but she didn't. She went. AOC is one of the best kept secrets in the United States. I was a little bartender. She was, but her family is very wealthy. She was a private school kid, which amazes me. She's as ignorant as she is after going. I have never. Most people I meet, they go to private school, or at least what I'd call 120s or above as far as their intelligence goes. In her case, if she's a 50, she's doing good. I bet you her IQ don't even test at 60.
We'll go to
75.
We'll go to the sun when it gets dark out. Honest to God said that.
I say we should send her and see how it works out for her.
I died.
Maybe we should send her to college so she can become a buffalo wing feather fluffer.
Bad part is, in some schools up in Yankee Land, people like her probably teaching.
Yeah, that's even more unbelievable. And I'll bet you her education, although privatized through private schools, I'll bet you her grades were paid for.
Oh, I wouldn't.
I'm sorry.
I wouldn't even doubt that.
You can't get through private school and be that stupid. Someone paid for her grades.
I just, who the hell is this? And why are you sending me photos, weirdo? Dude, you're fixing to get banned off of one of my pages. Who is this guy? Ron Anderson. Ron, who the hell are you, man? And why am I getting all kind of YouTube disclosure alien stuff? Well, I'll check it out. No, Brian, there's a lot of weirdness goes on the planet. That's all I can tell you. That's not what this show's about. So you're voting for Joe Biden? Is that what you're telling me, ladies? Well, I'm sending Jay and Jack to y'all's house. Obviously, y'all are frustrated. Yes, obviously, y'all are frustrated. Yes, I mean, really and truly, if you're voting for Joe Biden, there is something just wrong with you in general. Yep. Well, Humpty. Okay, so we're gonna go to break, and then we can come back. We're gonna talk about Humpty Dumpty Trumpy. and the states that say he can't run for election. This guy, he is going to end up with so much money because of this. I mean, as it is, he's going to probably own a chunk of CNN and NBC by the time all the lawsuits he's done with him. Oh no, he couldn't sue him while he was president. He had to wait till he got out of office. Yeah, now he was out of office, he started suing him, but he had to be careful because he might be back in office. No, he's Trump.
Yeah, but anything he started out of office, you know,
there's goofy rules about when you're in office, you got to put things on hold, and some of that stuff just don't make any sense. But then they also tell you while he's sitting president, you can't sue him or you can't do it. You can't go to court or anything while he's in. Unless he wants to, you can't even drag him into that. So I guess there's some advantages to it. It just
look what they're doing to him in Maine.
Yeah, but see, that's another thing. And I was reading an article out of one of the papers up there, and a bunch of people up there said, "Why didn't you ask us?" So you see, both in Colorado and in Maine, they didn't go to the people and ask them, "Is this what you want?" They did this behind closed doors. And then the first judge refused to rule on it. The second judge, and in Colorado, first judge refused in the beginning and then ruled on it. And everybody's like, well, that's what it was. A professor from Harvard asked the judge, how do you justify this? He said, I'm not voting for Trump. I never voted for Trump. He said, but I wonder how you justify this. He's never even been accused of this, much less prosecuted of it. He said, you have just shown your bias in this. He said, because there's no other reason you could do this. And now this, even the Vegas is saying the Supreme Court's going to vote on this 9-0 because there's nothing to this. Trump would have had to been prosecuted like the Jan 6 committee. If they would have done him, it might have been justifiable if they found something guilty on him. Or remember, Congress cleared him of this. People forget this. He was impeached for this, and he was cleared of this. So I'm not even sure how they're even getting away with this even a little bit. And this tells you what we've always said. This has always been politically related.
They weaponized the court system and the FBI to get to this guy.
And the more it goes on, the more we find out that the liberals are using, like he just said, the FBI and the political system to get to a political opponent. But it's worse than that because a couple of months ago, it was 55% of Democrats polled said they thought this was a political thing. Now it's 65%. So your own party is telling you. And
that's
then
just civilians. What do the Democratic senators and representatives say? What are those guys saying?
Well, they're saying the same thing because some of them like Chuck Schumer, and them are like, oh well, he's guilty. He needs to go to jail. Well, you got to prove you're guilty. This is the United States.
Yeah. Where's your evidence?
Yeah, where is your evidence, Mr. Schumer, who got up there 5 million times and said, we got new evidence for the Russia thing. Trump's going to jail. He said this for 3 years. And of course, they never had any evidence. He lied every time he went on. And he lied people. So that in itself is illegal. And then we've got Hillary Clinton, who tried to make a fake dossier to get a political opponent from winning an election, which she should be in jail for right now. Because if it was Trump, he would be in jail for it. Mm-hmm. I don't know, people. There's a double standard right now, and it needs to be fixed. It seriously needs to be fixed. We can't just keep letting things like the FBI help out with elections, because that hurt Trump in the last election. The FBI going around to all these different places and say, oh, it's fake news, when it turned out to be real news. Because Hunter Biden's laptop would have been a big chunk of what was talked about, but it wasn't, was it? You just got to kind of wonder about all of that, man. I mean, it gets to a point where, when did we become this back-asswards third world nation that can't even get an election straight? I mean, it is really kind of sad, guys. I mean, when you look at us, you can't go, well, you can't say we're the home of the free anymore, because we're the home of the bullshit is what we are. Any country that allows this to go on is the home of the bullshit. Anytime we allow our media to get away with what it does, it's time for a change. It truly is time for a change. Who's going to change it? It's not going to be me. Even though I'm a bitch about it the whole entire time. It may change. There have been some things change, and I've noticed that I've bitched about have changed. It's probably not because of me, but they have changed, so it always makes me feel better. Well, no, it's good to see things change.
But it seems like the government has gotten worse. I mean, I remember when I was a kid, even then I hated politics, but I don't remember much infighting, particularly within parties and then against the two parties.
No, this all started.
They seem to work a lot better together.
Yeah, this all really seemed to start right after Clinton got out of office. Really, right after Daddy Bush got out of office, it just seemed to got really polarized, and on both sides. And then the only reason it got unpolarized and probably kept us from a civil war was 9/11 happened. Just before 9/11, the country, everybody, all the news media, there's going to be a revolution.
Bad.
But instead, we seem to have straightened it out. But anyway, we're going to put a little Ronald Reagan on for y'all. And then we're going to be back. Yes. And the man's got some great speeches. Out of all the presidents out there, what do you mean Obama? Obama wishes he had the speeches that Reagan. If he did, he'd be on his third term now. No,
Obama
don't insult Reagan's memory like that, man. I mean, come on.
Reagan is a trained Hollywood actor. He knows how to control the tone of his voice. He knows how to hit his marks. Ask anyone who was still alive from the 80s that was a photographer for any newspaper. They loved Reagan because they could never get a bad shot of the dude.
Yes, because he knew his shit. But anyway, you got to hear this.
He knew how to face the camera. He knew how to face the people. He was one of the better orators we've ever had.
Yes, he was. And here you go, guys. Here he is right here.
If we look to the answer as to why for so many years we achieved so much, prospered as no other people on earth, it was because here in this land, we unleashed the energy and individual genius of man to a greater extent than has ever been done before. Freedom and the dignity of the individual have been more available and assured here than in any other place on earth. The price for this freedom at times has been high, but we have never been unwilling to pay that price. Those who say that we're in a time when there are no heroes, they just don't know where to look. The sloping hills of Arlington National Cemetery, with its row upon row of simple white markers bearing crosses or stars of David, they add up to only a tiny fraction of the price that has been paid for our freedom. Each one of those markers is a monument to the kind of hero I spoke of earlier. Their lives ended in places called Belleau Wood, the Argonne, Omaha Beach, Salerno, and halfway around the world on Guadalcanal, Tarawa, Pork Chop Hill, the Chosin Reservoir, and in 100 rice paddies and jungles of a place called Vietnam. Under one such marker lies a young man, Martin Treptow, who left his job in a small-town barber shop in 1917 to go to France with the famed Rainbow Division. There on the Western Front, he was killed trying to carry a message between battalions under heavy artillery fire. We're told that on his body was found a diary. On the flyleaf, under the heading, My Pledge, he had written these words: America must win this war. Therefore, I will work, I will save, I will sacrifice, I will endure. I will fight cheerfully and do my utmost as if the issue of the whole struggle depended on me alone. We must realize that no arsenal or no weapon in the arsenals of the world is so formidable as the will and moral courage of free men and women. It is a weapon our adversaries in today's world do not have. It is a weapon that we as Americans do have. Let that be understood by those who practice terrorism and prey upon their neighbors. As for the enemies of freedom, those who are potential adversaries, they will be reminded that peace is the highest aspiration of the American people. We will negotiate for it, sacrifice for it. We will not surrender for it now or ever. We are Americans.
I think your mic is off, Joe. We're not hearing you.
Sorry about that.
There we go.
Yes, I had it off because I had company. My evil one has approached. She is my Darth Cheney. It's so yeah. I'll stop. So no, those are good pieces to listen to. You know, if you're an American out there, it doesn't matter what age group you're in, those are good things. You know, Ronald Reagan reaches from the Z Genners all the way up to the baby boomers and everybody in between. I tell you what, Marcy, you send me a speech as good as any of those I've played tonight from Mr. Obama or ex-President Obama. I will play it. Yes, but it better be damn good because I haven't. Obama was a slick speaker, but I never heard him give any emotionally charged speeches. Yeah, not the kind that made you want to go, see, Kyle, I'm an American. Yeah, no. Yeah, we're talking about Michael's husband. That's who we're talking about. It's really and truly, people. I you know, it's not, and I'm not an Obama hater. That's the thing.
Yeah,
it's.
I mean,
I'm
sure he was a nice guy, but he has the charisma of a dead fish. I'm sorry.
Yeah, great speechwriters. Whoever speechwriters were good, just like Reagan's were good. Dude, Joe Biden couldn't give a speech if you plugged something in his ass and made it come out of his mouth. I mean, really. I mean, yeah, you know, one of the megaphone things, you shove it up and it come right out. Hello, I am Joe Biden. I love America, and yes, and I love America even more than Ronald Reagan did. I love America, man.
He sounds like Bill Clinton right there. Joe.
You see, I could do it. I could deal with Bill. Bill was cool. Bill was a womanizer. He liked to spank girls' asses and stuff. I could deal with Bill. I knew who he was. You know, he was like any European president.
Yeah, it's better to dance with the devil you know than to dance with the devil you don't.
What do you mean, Denise? No. Okay, Denise. First off, in France and Italy, it's cool to have a mistress as president. Yes, I'm sorry, not my rules. You don't remember when Clinton got in trouble for Monica? And everybody in Europe was like, what is wrong with you stupid Americans? What the hell is wrong with you? Oh, no, it was big news how ignorant Americans were because everybody over there's got a mistress or a master. Yes. Personally, I mean,
Kennedy had the Secret Service, sneaking girls in and out of secret caches within the White House for sexual trysts.
Who you talking about Medusa with Kennedy? You mean that she wasn't Medusa? Give me a break, man. You talking about Booby with the blonde hair? Yes, no. Marilyn was not Medusa.
Marilyn Monroe. Yeah.
Oh my God! You know what is sad about Marilyn? Is more than likely because she was running with the Rat Pack and hanging out with Kennedy. She probably heard something she wasn't supposed to.
Very, very likely, and but also just the way Hollywood was back then. They passed that girl around like a party favor.
Yeah, they did, and that could have been what put her over the edge. But there was something about the way she died that just stank like somebody else did it. That could have been old CIA standards. I mean, they were pretty bad about that stuff back in the day. Oh, you're talking about Justin Trudeau. I do believe that Justin Trudeau is what's his name's son.
I agree, 100%.
Yeah. What's his name, guys?
Castro.
Castro. I was going to say Carlos. I'm trying to get myself killed. No, he's Castro's son. And, so at first, when I heard all this stuff, I didn't believe it. Well, I have a lot of Canadian friends, and so they all started sending me pictures of Trudeau when he's young and Castro when he's young. I mean, he looks a lot like this guy. Then I found out that what's his name, who was prime minister at the time, the husband, used to send her down there for 6 weeks at a time and shit. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's who he is. So the guy who runs Trudeau had a communist father. But of course, the guy who ran the United States had a socialist father. Yes, Barack Obama, what's his name, Barrasaturo? His daddy was a socialist. Yes. Borderline communist, even though he went to school here in the United States.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, y'all didn't know that, did you? Yeah, it's not hard to find out. Oh, I mean, Obama's got some socialist tendencies himself. It just he didn't have the stupid.
Oh, absolutely.
Well, some liberals have it's because some liberals are socialists. To me, the liberals today are the new Communist Party. They just make me feel like they're communists.
And you can correct me if I'm wrong, and I probably am wrong, but as far as every president that's gone besides Obama, after their inauguration, the very next Sunday, unless the inauguration is on a Sunday, the very following Sunday, there's a big hoopla in the news of the news media following the new president and his family to their first day in church. I don't think they did that with Obama because I don't think he ever went to church.
No, he never went. As far as I know, he never went to church. Now, I heard some of the family did, but he didn't. I think the grandmama did, and maybe the mama did. Michael might have went a couple of times. What do you mean who we're talking about, Michael? Michael is Michelle, yes. The only reason we call her Michael, and you can go look at these for yourself, there are several pictures out there of her getting off of airplanes and standing up where, I don't know, there's this long tubey thing.
You know what? She was on Ellen DeGeneres, dude, and she was dancing. It was just like wagging out there. You know what I mean? She could have put a cup on.
It's just. I'm telling you, you don't have to take our word at this. No, there's a lot of because they're on particular shows and on Air Force One and all. These aren't something you can touch up. You can't touch up an Air Force One picture. You go to freaking jail for that.
Well, do you remember during the Clinton administration, the joke went around, they don't let Hillary wear dresses and skirts in the White House. Oh, why is that? That's because they don't want you to see her testicles.
Joe, where'd you go?
He must have had a Chihuahua emergency.
There he is. Yeah.
Was there a Chihuahua?
No, my feet got cold. No, my feet got cold.
Oh,
it's people not wearing shoes. Yeah. Well, yeah, I'm wearing a suit, but I'm not wearing shoes. I'm in the studio.
Camping casual down below.
I believe Michael was having an affair with the cook, and Mr. Obama there, he got mad. That's why he killed the dude.
Well, I would normally say a president wouldn't do that, but after Mr. launched all those drone attacks, I'm not sure what he would do and what he wouldn't do. I don't know, people. You can't just take people at their word. I mean, Obama was an interesting character, but a lot of weird shit went on underneath his time, and you just got to kind of wonder why.
Hey, I have a question to ask you guys. When Trump gets back in, can he fire Ray and all them people in the CIA and FBI?
He most certainly can. He can can everybody in them places.
Yeah, that's part of what there's like the 5 different tiers of conspiracy level that why did Kennedy get killed? And one of those conspiracy levels is that he and his brother had already planned to attack the FBI and the CIA and break them up into smaller groups and destroy their police power. And there were other parts where they're going to go after the mafia as well. But yeah, the president has absolutely right. Wasn't it? Who was it that did the FBI? It was the president that started the FBI, so it can be if the president did it, another president can undo it.
Oh yeah, they'd even break it up if they want to. There's not much. I mean,
yeah, like I said, that's what the Kennedy brothers were going to do. They were planning. JFK was going to take on the CIA and the FBI while his brother went after the mafia in the courts, because he was, secretary of the whatever courts in his administration. So that's those 2 alone is a reason to be afraid for your life.
What do you mean, Jack? Well, the FBI has been on and off for years. You've been hearing stuff about the FBI, but lately, since Comey's days, it's been pretty bad stuff all in all. They seem to be very one-sided in the government. Now, Comey was a Republican and still sided with the liberals.
He had to, I bet you.
No, he didn't have to. He's the head of the FBI. He could have done whatever the hell he wanted. He just didn't like Trump. Because Trump,
it was Trump's fault. If you pay a guy enough, he can turn his colors. This
was more about Trump's egotistical behavior than it was anything else. It was Comey wanted this, that, and the other thing, and Trump just kept saying, "No, you're full of whatever. You're this, that." And the man did end up having to quit over it when he said done because Trump was proven right. But still, there was better ways to have done that, And it's like the guys who got fired for for all that bullshit. What was the ones that had they were sending the letters back and forth to each other, and I can't remember their names right now. Boyfriend and girlfriend, the FBI. There was a couple of them that got canned, but you know what? They got to keep all their benefits, even though they were busted for lying about the president, changing information about the president, and just not even giving him an investigation. And still, they should be in jail, and they got to keep their.
Well, they must have coughed up some information that was worth that kind of
No,
I mean,
no. Somehow or
huge.
another, the Democrats just have control of the FBI. You got to wonder how, or at least then you have to wonder how. It was just. It wasn't even that they had control. There's so many people just didn't like Trump, and the media was doing such a good job of let's get Trump a hater, Trump hater, Trump hater, Trump hater. It became fashionable for a while to be a Trump hater. But now that's going away, and the media can't figure out why it's going away. Look, media, I told y'all in 2016, if all you're going to talk about is Trump, he's going to be the next president of the United States. I said that at the very beginning of this election. If all we're going to talk about is Trump, I said every time you bring charges, his numbers are going to go up. A good friend of mine, he told me. Matter of fact, he keeps his bets. He said, I said, I'll bet you every time they bring charges, he goes up a couple of points. He said, I bet you $500 every time. Boom, we're on time 5 now. All 5 times Trump's numbers are going up.
Yeah, I don't have airwaves TV, but I have not seen a single Trump commercial for his presidency. Maybe it's too early, I don't know, but he doesn't need to. They're paying for his advertising campaign by bringing all these charges and all this hullabaloo about him. All he has to do is sit where he is, and he's on the media. He's in the news every night.
Well, and that's the thing. And most of the people now aren't really caring what you're saying because they've realized that most of it's bullshit. You know, and now that even the Democrats have realized that a lot of this is bullshit, what are you going to do? You can't just keep on keeping on. So you listen to news, but you realize that the news is crap, and you're just going to vote for whoever you want to vote for. And since they're saying Trump, 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 Trump the whole entire time, eventually you're just going to vote for Trump.
There's my buddy. Hey, Kason, what's up? He's from Sri Lanka.
Sri Lanka?
Yeah.
Sri Lanka? The country Sri Lanka?
Yeah. Kason.
Cool.
Yeah, he's a good dude, man. Good to see you. Thank you for coming on the show.
Actually, Carl, we got to take a quick break, and we're going to be right back, and we're going to get more into. We're going to be getting into some of Trump's polls and some of the Humpty Dumpty Trumpy stuff and things like that. So, give us about 2 minutes or 3 minutes, and we'll be back. No, Jack likes dancing naked, and we can't do that when he's on cam. Okay.
Yeah.
You women go so ape shit over it, we just can't allow it anymore. Last time I got
find me a Japanese woman, Joe.
Japanese or Chinese?
Japanese.
You know, I know 5 Mandarin words. Whoever sent me that smartass comment, and maybe 3 Japanese words. No, they're not. No, they're not bad words. No, indeed, the bad words ain't going to help you unless you're in a whorehouse, man. Come on. Anyway, we're gonna. No, I'm serious. I mean, really, what are you going to do with words like that unless you're in a place like establishment like that? I mean, really. I need words that where's the food? I need money. I don't know. You love me, and I give you. You know, see, you can't say you love me a long time. That's first off, that's kind of specious, racist kind of thing. Yeah, no, it really is, man. You know, yeah, if you're at home in your own house saying it, you know, that's all fine and dandy. You get out in the real world and say that kind of stuff. That's going to be a little offensive. But anyway, we're going to play this, and we'll be right back. So please stay tuned. I believe this is Johnny Cash coming up. So hang out and take a listen. And what do you mean we're a patriotic show? In a way, we are a patriotic show.
I am the nation. I was born on July 4th, 1776, and the Declaration of Independence is my birth certificate.
Damn, Skippy.
The bloodlines of the world run in my veins because I offered freedom to the oppressed. I'm many things and many people. I am the nation. I'm 200 million living souls and the ghost of millions who have lived and died for me. I'm Nathan Hale and Paul Revere. I stood at Lexington and fired the shot heard round the world. I'm Washington, Jefferson, Patrick Henry. I'm John Paul Jones, the Green Mountain Boys, Davy Crockett. I'm Lee, Grant, Abe Lincoln. I remember the Alamo, the Maine.
Abe wishes he's as sexy as I was.
When freedom called, I answered and stayed until it was over there. I left my heroic dead in Flanders fields and on the rock of Corregidor, on the bleak slopes of Korea, and in the steaming jungles of Vietnam. I am the Brooklyn Bridge, the wheatlands of Kansas, and the granite hills of Vermont. I am the coal fields of the Virginias and Pennsylvania, the fertile lands of the West, the Golden Gate and Grand Canyon. I am Independence Hall, the Monitor. I am the Merrimack. I'm big. I sprawl from the Atlantic to the Pacific. My arms reach out to embrace Hawaii and Alaska. 3 million square miles. I'm more than 3 million farms. I'm forest, field, mountain, and desert. I'm quiet villages, and I'm cities that never sleep. You can look at me and see Ben Franklin walking down the streets of Philadelphia with his bread loaf under his arm. You can see Betsy Ross with her needle. You can see the lights of Christmas and hear the strains of Auld Lang Syne as the calendar turns again.
Hi. Well, it's just me.
I didn't know Johnny Cash did Sandman.
Huh? He didn't do Sandman.
Well, we were just listening to Johnny Cash.
That was Johnny Cash.
Man, come on, dude.
Welcome back, everybody, to News on the Flip Side. We use a little Sandman to bring us back there. I love that Johnny Cash thing. That's a good one.
Yeah,
he's serious, people. But look, it's you either love this country or you don't. If you don't, get out.
Yeah.
Every time I hear somebody say, "Well, I'm going to move," you know what the first thing out of my mouth is? Don't let the fucking door hit you in the ass.
Yep.
I'm serious. You don't want to be here? Leave.
And during the Obama,
don't try to screw it up for the rest of us. We like living here.
During the whole terms of Obama, how many citizens swore that they were going to move out of the country, and how many of them actually did?
Every liberal in the country said they were going to move when Trump took over, and I was like, "Well, what y'all still doing here?"
Yeah.
And again, don't let the door hit you in the ass. Trump's going to be your next president unless some miracle comes in. Yeah. Let me put it this way: you're going to have Republicans no matter what in the next president's office. So just get rid. Well, it could be Nikki Haley, it could be DeSantis, and it could be Trump. As it stands right now, it's going to be Trump. What do you mean? Biden couldn't whip his way out of a wet paper bag with a pair of scissors in his hand. Okay, he'd probably poke himself in the eye, the dumbass. It's no, and the sad part about this is I liked Obama. I mean, he wasn't the greatest guy, and I told everybody his flaws from day one, and it turned out to be exactly that. He got screwed by the Democrats. He should have been left to mature for about a decade and then became president. And he might have been a good president because he had known how to play the game. But no, he had people like
played out his senatorial term of 6 years at least.
Yeah, at least.
What was it, 6 months, 2 months?
He was a junior senator. Yeah, he was 5 months or 6 months. He was a junior senator. From what I understand, he never even cast a vote. He should have did 2 Senate terms, because 1 Senate term wouldn't have been enough to make enough friends. But 2 he'd have made the friends he needed. He'd have been in the right place. He might have even got rid of that moron Chuck Schumer, or the other one. What's the other one? I can't think of the other guy. Well, she's an idiot too. But no, I was thinking of Chuck Schumer and I can't think of the other guy's name now. But anyway, he could have got rid of one of them too. I mean, it's just he needed to have allies and not the kind that said, "Well, pass it and read it later." Really, the whole effing I still remember this. The whole country was like, "What did she just say?" And it didn't matter if you was a Democrat. It didn't matter if you was a Republican. It didn't matter if you was an independent or a centralist or libertarian. We all were like, "Did you just say vote on something we haven't even read?"
Yeah.
Nobody could get past it. I mean, but yeah,
that was
you liberals did it anyway.
Job.
I could not believe how many liberals, and I remember liberals trying to say they read it. And even the guy, Anderson Cooper, was like, "Yeah, it was 5,500 pages. You're telling me you read it before it went to vote?" And the guy said, "Well, not all of it." He said, "Yeah, that's what I thought." And I mean, even Anderson was kind of like, "You just bullshit." And it turned out, and I said before it even got passed, I said it's going to be catastrophic recovery. It's not going to be anything unless you got real money. It's going to be catastrophic recovery. And no, Joe, you wrong. I collected a couple of bets on that too. I like to put my money where my mouth is, and in this case, I knew it was an easy win. And they were like, so it comes out. A friend of mine says, he makes about $28,000 a year. And he says, I'm going to go get insurance. And I started laughing at him. And he's like, well, I said, you're not going to get what you think. I said, I just want you to be prepared for what you're going to see. He said, well, Joe, I said, I make a lot more money than you do. So I said, it's different. And I said, I have different circumstances than you. So I said, my wife's retired. She gets a pension. I said, and she gets her own insurance. I don't have to worry about paying for that. I said, so it's different for me than it is for you. So he goes back. And I see him 2 days later. He comes by, he sees me, he goes, so he was going to pay for him and his wife and his 2 kids. It was going to be $125 for each one of them, which is cheap for insurance now. So $500 a month. And the deductibles were $6,750.
Oh my God.
And it's a new deductible for every item, which that should be illegal. If your deductible is filled in a year, that should be your deductible, whether it's your car, your boat, your house, your body. It shouldn't matter. You shouldn't have to keep paying more deductibles. That's some rip-off shit that the government allowed to happen. So $6,700. Most people are not going to spend $6,700 in a year on medical stuff. They might spend $4,000 or $5,000, but they're not going to spend $6,700. So you're not even getting the benefit of the $20 or anything. You're just. Well, no, they do have programs like some things you had a deductible. I mean, you had a copay and stuff like that, but the copay was for these people was very high because they weren't paying anything. So they had to make up the money somewhere else. So the government just outright lied on this is what they did. And Obama tried to get past it, but once everybody's seen it, he lost the Senate. I mean, he lost the House, and then 2 years later, he lost the Senate. Even though he won the presidency, he lost the Senate. He never got the House or the Senate back his entire term. So only for the first 2 years of his presidency did he have, and he lost it. And all because he listened to Nancy Pelosi. If he would have just let that bill take its natural course, he would have kept
it.
The
Might
House
have come out better.
for 4 years.
It might have come out better. Here is it from my point of view. I worked for a large company at the time that this went through, and we had insurance. I think it was through Cigna, and I think I was paying a month like $35.
Jesus,
just for me, $35. And it wasn't the top level. It was like bottom or second from the bottom coverage. And I had the standard deductibles like $1,000 or whatever. I don't remember the exact details of it, but I was $35 came out of my paycheck pre-tax, and then they taxed it, and I got whatever was left over. Affordable Care Act, Obamacare came through, and that jumped up to $109 per paycheck.
Per paycheck.
You couldn't use
per
your
paycheck.
You couldn't use your doctors.
I could use. I can still use the same doctors. My insurance company didn't change. Well, what I paid for changed, and the benefits I had $35, which were fairly decent, or at least what I thought for me, decreased, and I paid more. So I lost benefits and paid 4 times as much. You get paid almost at least twice every month on a bi-weekly paycheck, but sometimes 3 times. So it's per paycheck, $109. When I left that company, it was, I think, $171.
Wow.
For the basic level, the very bottom level, basic eye care, basic dental, basic.
And Jesse, he's only getting those prices because they have lots of employees there. Oh no, if you got a company with
company.
If you got a company with 10 or 20 employees, you're going to pay far more than that. You'd be paying
Way
$5.
more.
Well, my daughter-in-law, I think for her and my son was paying $600 a month.
What?
That's Humana, yeah.
I know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
How can you afford that?
That's standard insurance for most people. $300 a person a month. That's just regular insurance. That's nothing fancy. That's nothing. What bothers me is when my health insurance beats out my homeowners. I'm like, wait a minute now. I said, my home's worth X amount of dollars, so it's got to be higher because I got to cover it. But yet I'm paying more in health. There's no way my health is going to reach the value of my home. Not when I was younger, for sure. Maybe now that I'm an old bastard, but even now it's highly unlikely, unless I'm dying of cancer or something, that I'm going to reach those kind of totals that I pay for my house. So plus I live in a hurricane zone, and still it's cheaper than it is for my health insurance. You just got to wonder what the hell. Well, not now, guys. I get different stuff now. I get something for free now because of a lawsuit. But yes, it pays for everything, actually. It pays for prescriptions, everything. There's only maybe a handful of things it doesn't pay for, but it pays for pretty much everything. I paid for prescription in a decade. It's a nice benefit, and that's what everybody should have. No, everybody should have that. And the idea of universal health care through the government was the fact that everybody paid into the government, and then the government doled out. Okay, well, you're rich, so you can afford. You don't need health care from the government. You're middle income, you don't really need that much help, but a little bit of help. But all the rest of these, 50 million, 60 million people need real help. So by having you take like a 10% tax out of everybody's checks for that, then everybody gets good health care.
Mm-hmm.
And it doesn't put everybody in the bank. It don't kill the persons they're taking it from. Because that's true, Elisa. If we spend $1 trillion a year, not a billion, almost $1 trillion a year on defense, that could all be turned into healthcare, and it would change things drastically. If everybody on the planet everybody on the planet took their defense money and just put it towards cancer research, cancer would be cured in less than 2 years, guaranteed.
I was actually talking about this at work today. I think, what was it last year or this year? The budget for the military was like 29 trillion, something like that.
No, that's our debt. 30 trillion.
Oh. Well, there was something like $1 trillion going into.
Oh yeah, it's $1 trillion is what the budget is. Yeah, right at $1 trillion.
But it's a lot of money, and I said, why don't they take some money out of that? Take $1 billion out of that, Black Ops budget, and dump it into the country. Do you think $1 billion would go really far to fix all of our roads, our infrastructure, electrical systems, our water systems?
If they took 100 billion out, it would. Because today everything's high, but if you took 100 billion out of it,
in $1 trillion, if that's how much they're going to give to Black Ops, why can't they put that into the country?
Because they want to make sure the Chinese don't conquer your little butt in Pennsylvania. That's why.
I think we have that licked. We still need better roads. They're still falling apart.
But the roads thing is only half the government. The other half is your local government. So the government doles out money. So both Trump and Obama had big road plans. Not Obama, Biden. And Biden said, "You're seeing a lot of stuff getting done, but not all that money goes to roads. Some of that money gets deflected to other projects, pork belly projects that whoever got the money originally had planned for some of it. So it don't all get there, So I know in Louisiana last year they were supposed to spend $25 billion, I think it was, and they ended up spending 12. I don't know where the other 13 went. Nobody knows actually. It's in the government somewhere, but yet they did say that the state was running a surplus and it had the lowest unemployment it's ever had in its history of a state. So that's a good thing.
There was that fiasco a couple of years ago where what did they lose? 260 billion.
Mm.
They didn't know where to find it.
Government money. How doesn't somebody go to jail for that? I mean, 200. That's a lot of money just to disappear. Well, the people
you
of money.
Country for that.
You're pretty much good. What do you mean, Jeffrey? You mean the current president? No, he's a moron. You know what? The sad part is he's not a moron. He's probably a liar, but he's probably not a moron. He probably wasn't a moron anyway. So all I ever remember of Joe Biden through his terms as a senator is that he said a lot of shit that wasn't true. He just makes up stuff, and he still does it today. Like, I was a bus driver. When were you a bus driver, Mr. Biden? Oh, I was a boxer. I worked in a grocery store. Pretty much everybody he ever meets, he's done their job.
What probably happened is that when he was a senator, he did a stint. He did one of those things where he drove a bus for an afternoon to see how it's like to live on the other side. So yeah, he was a bus driver. My ass.
Well, I mean, he might be like some of the other ones. I don't know when he became a senator. So I don't know how long he was in the real world.
I think he's been there a good long time. So he knows.
He's been there a while. He is the reason why we should have term limitations. Him and Nancy Pelosi are the reasons why. And
there should also be age limitations because I'm not half convinced that his stuttering and muttering and floundering about isn't hard signs of Alzheimer's or some other mental disease that's going to put him into the.
Well, it is, but they don't want to take him. For some reason, they're just scared to make Kamala president.
I think we would be immediately attacked by any of our enemies. Yeah.
Well, more than likely, somebody would kill Kamala, and then the Republicans would take over because the Speaker of the House becomes is a third person in line.
I like him. I like him.
The new guy? Oh,
Yeah.
I don't know. From what I heard today, the stupid Republicans look like they're going to lose their House majority.
Wow.
People keep retiring and quitting. That's the main difference between the Republicans and the Democrats is the Democrats have always been a party that stuck together no matter what. The Republicans just can't seem to get that kind of loyalty going. They just can't seem to do it. Well, even though I know what you're talking about, Cliff, you're talking about people like AOC and all them. Yeah, they are crazy, but when push comes to shove, they get behind their party.
Well, and also,
you don't see that with the Republicans.
A few shows back, we looked up the average age of senators, and it's 65.
Yeah, I know it's actually high.
And more than half of the senators that we do have are over 65.
Well, Jack, I don't have a problem with them being 65. It's probably the smartest they've ever been in their life. That's not so much the issue. It's the issue of that, some people are much sharper at 65 than others. Mm-hmm. And to be a senator or a president, you should have to have a cognitive test. And at some point.
Or a competency test.
Or maybe both.
Yeah.
So, you should be tested. Well, so Biden maybe he was tested when he first got in, but right now he should have one. And the results should be made public. And that's the problem. None of his competency tests have been made public. Trump's was. Every time Trump took one, he made him take 3, remember? And every one of his was made public, but Biden's isn't made public. See, all I've been seeing from the liberals for the last 16 years is a very one-sided country now. Liberals have wheezed their way into the FBI and the CIA and the media, and they're controlling the narrative of our country. And we can't allow that to go on any longer because they're destroying our country. Pretty soon we're going to all be Chinese because they don't understand the fact that there are threats to our nation. Mm-hmm. I heard Nancy Pelosi say, "Oh, there's no reason to fear Chinese. Chinese love us. She'd love to own us." But then that would destroy the Chinese because that's something they have to understand. We're one of their money sources, us in Europe. So if you owned us, we wouldn't have all this money to spend with you.
Yeah.
So you're damned if you do, damned if you don't. And I think Xi Jinping knows that. But right now, because the U.S. and Europe has cut them off over COVID, they're crashing, and they're crashing hard. That's why everybody keeps saying they're going to start a war. Well, no, if they start a war while they're crashing hard, that's just going to make it worse. If you have no money, how are you going to finance a war?
I saw a blurb. I didn't look at the article, but somewhere in one of those Google pages where they give you suggestions that some general or rear admiral, somebody said that he doesn't think China will be ready to attack the U.S. for at least another 10 years.
Probably longer than that because the U.S. is making heads. And ever since everybody's come out with all these new weapons, the U.S. is building shit all over the place now.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, no. So y'all seen the new ballistic missile killer we got? It goes from 0 to Mach 10 in just less than a minute. This is to hunt out ballistic missiles and kill it. That's what it does. And it's way fast enough to catch them. There's no hypersonic missiles going to make a difference to it. Well, the U.S., you should never challenge the U.S. when it comes to weapons because sooner or later we're just going to build something crazy. As the Russians have found out many times over the year. And as we found out, most of the Russian weapons have turned out to be, how can I say this politely, junk.
Mm-hmm.
I hate to even say that, but when you go back and look at the Ukraine, because now Russia's actually deploying some of its more expensive stuff, it's more modern stuff, and it's still getting its ass kicked.
We can say one good thing about Russia's Air Force. They do have a 100% kill rate on their own forces.
Yep. They surely do.
Way to go, guys.
Hey, listen, guys, I got to get going here. All right.
Get on out here. We're going to do these polls, and then we're going to wrap up.
All right.
Let's see. Oh,
night.
Joe Biden wants to marry Jack.
Yeah,
what? I don't think he swings that way, man. All right, let's see. Where are we? Where did I do with them polls just now? Republicans, Iowa. I don't care about all of that. Let's see. Joe Biden's approval rating. Let's see. Rasmussen has. They have Joe Biden at 46% and 53% disapprove. Now, how come I don't believe that? RMG Research has him at 36% approval. RMG Research again has him at 38% approval. Rasmussen has Trump at 51 over Haley at 13. American Research Group, only 37% approve of Biden, 37, 37, 37, 36, 35.
Well, why? I mean, we've been going through these a lot through the last several shows. Why does it stagger around 37, 40, 42, 45? I mean,
these are
right
all
there,
sitting. These are all sitting here today. They're all between 35 and 38. There was only one up here that was high. All the rest of them are in the mid 30s. And then you go down to disapproval ratings, 57, 57, 59. And here's one Daily Mail, Biden versus Trump, 36-40. So Trump's got a 4-point lead on him. Biden versus Phillip, we don't care. Biden versus Phillip, we don't care. Trump versus Haley. Now, this is interesting. 33-29.
Huh.
Haley's making grounds on Trump. And it would be nice to have a woman president. RMG Research approval rating for Biden, 36%, 39%. Only Rasmussen, which is I thought it was a GOP poll, has got him high. Here's St. Allison's College Survey Center has Biden at 49, Trump at 39. Boy, this must be some left-leaning place. Oh, my God. McKellen and Associates, Biden 34, Trump 40, Harris 42, Trump 50, Biden 40, Trump 47. And then, yeah, that sucks. Let's see. Trump Haley 44-30. Trump DeSantis 49-17. DeSantis is falling. Trump Haley 74-26, 74-26, 62-11. Damn. Guys, y'all don't look like y'all got a prayer catching Trump. Democrats versus Republican, 43-47. The Republicans are beating them out for a change.
Wow.
Favorable rating, unfavorable rating. The Republicans have a more favorable rating than the Democrats do by about 8 points. Damn. That's it. YouGov, The Economist. How many people approve of the economy right now? What do you think it is?
I'd say 60%.
What do y'all think, people? What do you think the percentage of the people that think the economy is right now? So I'll tell y'all. 62% disapprove.
No,
16% approve. That's it. So this
16, like 1-6.
16%. That's it.
0.
Yeah, and then the next one is 15% approved. Well, there's some discrepancies in here because one's 1662, so that's only 88. One's 1556, and that's only 71. So
yeah, and then there's the plus or minus or error factor, and then there's the undecided factor. Why does every poll have an undecided?
So during here's Joe's official poll. Okay, this is so Quinnipiac, he's at 35 and 36 and 37. The Economist, he's at 40 and 41. His approval rating on all of them are at least 59%. So he's just, here we go. Economy. Supreme Court approval. This was interesting. 40% approve of the Supreme Court. 50% don't, but that could go either way.
Yeah.
Again, 40% approve, 46% don't. That's amazing, actually. I thought for sure they were going to have a worse rating than that. Hey, sorry, Supreme Court guys. Don't mean to hate on y'all.
Everybody hates what the court decides unless it's in their favor.
On the economy, Trump and Biden are tied at 43%.
I don't know how that works. I mean,
that's on the economics. That's
across
just what
the
it is.
street at the local Rudders, it is currently $3.49 for unleaded. High test is $3.85. Oh my God! It's still steady. I think the last time I reported on the diesel, it was $4.39. It is still $4.39. So,
damn. So
I remember when diesel was the cheaper of the gases. It was always, $1.
It was always way cheaper. Yeah. So this is general election, but this was between December 14th and December 18th. It shows you how much these polls have changed. So Biden, Trump, 43-43. Newsom, Trump's killing Newsom. Trump's killing Whitmore. That's the other people. Biden, Haley. Biden's beating Haley. Biden, Trump, 41-41. Biden, Trump, 44-44. Biden, Trump, 36-38. So Trump's actually winning one. Biden, Trump, 36-36. Biden, Trump, 47-47. So basically, 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago, when we started doing this, these two were running neck and neck. Now there's almost 10 points separating them.
Mm-hmm.
And what the hell happened, people? Yeah,
I tell you what I think happened is that, the old phrase, best to keep silent and let people think you're a fool than to open your mouth and remove all doubt.
That's true.
Biden doesn't abide by that philosophy. He opens his mouth and
that poll site that was the poll site was 50-38. Yes, 50-38 is the 538. I'm sorry, not 50. Yeah, that's the thing. We got two more polls we're going to do, and then we're out of here. We're running out of time, people. This is real clear politics. This is definitely a left-leaning site, but they've been pretty honest lately. So we're going to see. Rasmussen has a disapproval rating at 45%. Approval at 45, disapprove at 53. It's going up 7 points in the last week. Trump is killing everybody in his party, so there's not a prayer there. The one I just read was Friday, December 29th from Rasmussen. Obama's approval rating is 46%. Don't believe that. I'm just to be honest with y'all.
You just said Obama.
Oh, did I? I meant Biden. Sorry, guys. Sorry, guys. Don't get crazy.
Sounded like you said Obama.
No, I did. I said Obama. When you said it, I realized I said it. Now, in Gallup, only 38% of people approve on Biden. So between these two polls, Rasmussen has him at 46. Gallup, which is also liberal leaning, has him at 39%.
It's still striking me as odd how all of these polls are so stagnant. They're so close. The numbers are so, and for weeks they've been at that same
Yahoo News.
It's like tweaking the equalizer on your stereo. All the bars stop right at the same area.
Yeah. Well, that's because the liberal polls are going to lie. They're not going to be honest.
Yeah.
They're not going to, and they're going to be small polls, usually 100 people, 100 to 150 people. You might see 1,000 one every once in a while, but generally, the polls on Trump usually are going to be bigger because they're trying to stretch it. The ones on Biden are going to be smaller because they're trying to get what they're looking for. Oh, people, I did polling for a long time. I understand how we actually own an American polling company, guys. We actually understand how this works, and unfortunately, people cheat. So this is Yahoo News has Trump and Biden at a dead heat. No one anywhere else has them at that. Trump is killing everybody in his party here. Biden's killing everybody in his party, but they don't have Kennedy in there. They don't want to put him in there because Kennedy's drawing like 17% now. And I notice he's not involved in any of these polls, by the way. Joe Biden, even though Yahoo News says they're tied up here, they say he only has a 35% approval rating.
Wow.
Now, Yahoo says Democrats are favored over Republicans 42-43. Anytime a poll is that close, you ignore it. It's just a tie, people.
Mm-hmm.
Plus or minus on that poll is 5%. Yeah, so it's kind of useless. In all of the battleground states, Trump is killing Biden by at least 10 points.
Yeah.
It's so I don't even know how he could have any kind of favorable ratings anywhere. What do you mean New Hampshire? New Hampshire's a Democratic state. Yes.
Yeah.
Quinnipiac, Trump's ahead on this poll, and he's ahead on this poll. What gets me is I love this one right here. Trump 36, Biden 38, Kennedy 22. Okay. So y'all know this. Kennedy's going to take more points from Biden than he is from Trump. Since all the other polls either have Trump ahead or tied with Biden, knowing Kennedy's in there means that Joe Biden's far below where this poll says he is. I don't know. Quinnipiac's got some bullshit with him. Now, I'm calling bullshit. When I see bullshit, I call bullshit. Yeah, they have all the primaries and all that stuff on here if you want to look at it too. But, the best way to do it, and see, a lot of these polls are phone polls. So they'll call you, and they're calling Democrats almost always. So when you see these numbers, a lot of times you have to remember these companies are Democratic companies that are doing the polling. The majority of people taking these polls are Democrats, and they're still doing this bad.
And I'll bet you some of them are phone-in polls where you can phone in, and I'll bet you some people call in more than once.
Yeah, and they probably do. And think about it. There's Democrat polls are still doing this bad. Even knowing you know for a fact Yahoo News has been busted cheating so many times it's not even funny. Well, no, they used to be no. In all fairness to Yahoo, they used to be conservative, and then they had a woman took over and she made her whole entire board female, and then they got sued for discriminating against men. I don't know what's going on over there now. Nationally, on a national poll, this is what company is this? This is 270 to win. That's it, but that's the 270 is the amount of wins, but that's the name of the site.
I wonder if that's based in DC, because that's the number of the beltway that goes around DC is 270.
Yeah, it's also the number of electoral votes too. It's
yeah. Okay.
So nationally, Trump is beating Biden by 5 points as of December 26th. In Iowa, Trump is beating Biden by 12 points. New Hampshire, Biden's winning by 10. Pennsylvania, Trump is winning only by 4 points, but he's winning.
Nice.
Michigan, Trump's winning. Georgia, Trump's winning. Arizona, Trump's winning. Texas, Trump's murderizing. Nevada, Trump's winning. North Carolina, Trump's winning. Tennessee, he's murderizing. Wisconsin, he's winning. No, he's losing. He's tied. Sorry. Wisconsin's a tie, which means he can get it. New York, he's only out of the lead by 8 points. If I was New Yorkers, I'd be getting worried. Minnesota, Biden's winning. Florida, Trump's murderizing. California, Biden murderizing. Washington State, Biden's murderizing. Ohio, Trump's murderizing. Missouri, Trump's murderizing. Alaska, Trump's murderizing. Arkansas, Colorado, Wyoming, and Montana. He's killing in all of those states. Well, Colorado, he's not allowed to be on anymore, so I don't know what's going to happen there. Biden's winning in Illinois. He's losing Dakota, South Dakota, and Indiana are all red. Ohio, Kansas, West Virginia, and Nevada, Nebraska are all red. New Mexico's going blue. Maryland's going blue.
Right,
Kentucky and Oklahoma are red as hell. And Virginia. So if you're looking at this per poll right now, he's already got to 270.
Yeah.
He's already got the votes. And I don't know if Georgia's going to go blue. They got Georgia as blue. I don't know if Georgia's going to go blue this time. I'm not sure if Virginia's going to go blue either because they got a Republican governor now. Democrats, I don't know what to tell y'all. It looks bad, guys. It looks bleak. I don't hate Democrats. I just want a country that functions.
We, like I said earlier, we used to have a government that talked to each other. It actually worked well. Particularly, we said it before under Reagan, where both parties they gelled well and they got stuff done. They got some good stuff done. They did some stuff that made the country good until it collapsed. I think Reagan's voodoo economics is why we had that economic downturn in the 2000s. But they worked. Now they don't work together. It's like I think the gears are broken.
We got to the point where we just don't want to be friends anymore.
Yeah.
So now on NBC. So on all these polls on NBC, do you think Trump is winning in any of them? Let's see. Well, Fox and Quinnipiac he is, but those are other polls. No, he's winning in the NBC poll.
Wow.
Wow, that's something else. So theeconomist.gov and Morning Consultant. So Trump has both 42 in those. Biden has 44 and 43. So Biden's winning all of these. Trump's winning all these polls. It's guys, that can all change. Remember, we still got 9 or 10 months to the election. What we got? January, February, March, April, May, June, July, August, September, October. 10 months. Yeah, it's like the first week of November. 10 months.
Be the first Tuesday.
10 months, people. And then we will have a new president of the United States. He won't take over until January 22nd or 25th or something. But
usually the 20th.
Yeah, he's taken over a couple times on my birthday. That's the only reason I know when it's at. No, we got to go. What question you got? Who's
Yeah, I
what
got a
now?
90-pound German Shepherd who's acting wonky. He might need to go out.
Jay is married. He got 4 wives and 21 children. I
And
lost count of the
72 stepchildren.
I know I lost count of the grandchildren. I lost count. It's too many of them. Jack, you mean Jack? No, Jack's not married. Jack is looking for a harem.
He's
Thanks,
he's got the
Greg.
makings of a 50 individual harem.
So he owns a gold mine, so he's really stinking filthy rich. He's got so much money the Arabs invite him over and stuff.
Yeah,
but he's really wants. But even though he's rich, he wants a sugar mama.
Yeah,
preferably like in their mid-30s or something. Yes, something like that. What are you talking about? No, man. You gotta take care of him. Yes, wisdom.
Yeah. George Carlin's ultimate wish was he wanted a cocaine addict with a Ferrari dealership.
All right, real quick. I'll run through these real quick, but these are just headlines. I'm not going to get them in detail because we don't have a lot of time. So the first headline that was sent to me just now: after today's violent attack from Russia, now the good news for the Ukraine. So Ukraine was getting its ass handed to it today, but because they were having such a time, the Emperor Joe Biden is going to send them, looks like, F-16s
to Ukraine.
That's what it's looking like.
World War III starting.
So that's gonna piss Russia off. F-16 is a serious fighter.
Putin's gonna do something really nasty if we do
that. Okay, Christopher. The F-16 is an old plane, but it's been upgraded. So the new F-16s have a lot of stuff that we don't want to fall in Russian hands, so we probably won't give those to him. But ours are not going to have tape on GPS. I can tell you that.
Yeah, they're also going to need to force one down if they want to get anything from it.
Yes, and more than likely they're going to have some way to take care of that. But it does look like we're going to give him that. Well, we're giving him Abrams tanks. We might as well go over there and fight the war.
Yeah.
Okay, so China's share of the global economy has fallen by the most since Mao. What was his name? Mao Zedong is what is his name? So it was. Think of this. And y'all need, and this is what Trump did. So China was just going everywhere. Obama pretty much said, "Oh yeah, do whatever you want. You can. We don't care if our allies buy oil from the Russians. We don't care if we just keep spending money in China until China's the richest nation in the world." And then here comes Trump going, "What are y'all doing? China is an enemy. China is not an ally. They've never shown any attempts to ally. They got all kind of intellectual fraud all over them, and yet y'all want to do business with them." So more than likely, it is going to reorder the world because China's just falling too fast, too hard, too fast. They don't know what they're going to do, and if Trump gets back in, Trump's going to put the icing on their head. He's going to make sure that they just fall apart. So what do? Do you go out and start a war that you can't fund? Because, I mean, the problem for China is they're not like the United States. The United States has a lot of resources inside the country. But more so than that, we're spread out around the world already. So we have access to all the minerals and stuff we need. China's not. China's kind of still stuck over in the South China Sea. And we will sink their ass if we see them in the Gulf of Mexico. We've already told the Russians, because the Russians were going to bring tanks to Venezuela. We said, we will sink your damn tanks before they ever get to Venezuela. And Putin, being an actor, he said, no, we'll just run into them by accident and sink it. Tells you right there that we're tired of dealing with all this shit. We just got a coward for a leader right now. I'm sorry, he's not even a coward. He's just a tired leader. And he got in over his head, really.
And I fully think that he's not mentally capable. Maybe he was at the beginning of his, but he just doesn't seem to have the capacity, the mental capacity to do it.
He doesn't. He just seems to be these days in another world.
Yeah.
Oh, let's see. Well, hold on. You sent them to me too fast. Hold on. Let me jump back. So wait, let's go to this one next. Brazil shows concern as Venezuela slams UK warships sent to Guiana. whatever. Brazil, don't worry about Venezuela. We'll just blow their asses up. Harvard gets more time to probe President Gay. Probe of President Gay. Wait, what?
Huh?
What? Harvard gets more time in Plagiarism probe of President Gay. Okay, y'all gonna have to go read that because I'm not even sure what the hell that's supposed to mean. No, that's exactly what it said. I just read it word for word to y'all. Missile falls on NATO country. Yes. Yeah. Oh, y'all didn't hear China? One of China's big pieces of their rocket fell off and landed on somebody's house.
Oh shit!
Yeah, they got to get their shit together.
From their space program or from a military test?
No, I don't know. It's just something they shot into space. They didn't say what it was from. They just said it was a booster. That's what it was, a rocket booster. Air Force launches new investigation into cancer striking nuclear missile communities. Ooh, that's not good for the Air Force.
Yeah, you think hanging around all that nuclear fissionable material, that's not good.
Yeah, what they're saying is the damn nukes cause cancer, people.
Yeah.
Court rules president immunity doesn't get Trump out of Jan 6 allegations again. What allegations? I don't even know what allegations. The allegations they made on him for the DC
already.
Well, the ones in DC have nothing to do with
those are for the people who stormed the building.
Yeah, I don't know, but the Jan 6 DC's got him on 4 or 5 things they're charging him for, but none of it has anything to do with insurrection. That ain't me, people. California slaps a new minimum wage on fast food, and fast food slaps back. Oh yeah, wait, did the clown slap Governor Newsom? I want to see that, man. Come on, people. California raises minimum wage to $20 an hour. Get the fuck out of here. Excuse my French. I'm moving to California. Yeah, I'm gonna get 2 jobs and make $40 an hour. It still ain't as much as I make, but still. No, when I'm working, I make good money. I've been off the last 2 weeks. I ain't making shit right now. What? Pizza Hut is laying off more than 1,000 drivers in California, according to federal state filings. Fast food workers in the state are set to get a bump in April 23rd. Minimum wage raises from $16 to $20 an hour.
In one bump.
So my question here is, did the firemen get a raise, a $5 raise? Did everyone else get a $5 raise? Just the minimum wage people? Because all you're doing is forcing other companies to have to go up on their wages to keep employees.
Yeah.
So if you got a stressful job saying you're making $25 or $30 an hour, when you can just go drive pizzas around for 20 plus tips, you're probably making $30 an hour or more.
Yeah. And those tips, you don't have to, you're supposed to, but no one does declare them.
Yeah. So that's what I'm saying, people. I mean, I don't know. So now these guys are making as much as cops or more. I see, no one ever stops to think about what they're doing. Liberals are got to be the stupidest people on the planet. They think of a plan, but they never think of what the repercussions of what they're doing.
They don't think it through. They think it's a good plan. It looks good on paper, but they don't do the research to see if it's a good idea, in reality.
So did anyone even stop to ask what were going to be the repercussions of this, and what were people going to think about this? I mean, 1,200 drivers right out the gate. That's a lot of jobs gone. And they're not the other one. They're saying at least 2 or 3 dozen other companies are planning on doing the same thing. McDonald's and Chipotle have raised their prices accordingly.
Yeah. The Chipotle here, when they first started, when I moved back up here from Georgia, they were, I think, $7.25, $7.50. So they were under $8 after tax.
Yeah. So
most recently, the last few years during COVID, they were $9 after tax. Now they're over $12 over tax.
Well, Chipotle said they're going to raise their prices to match their minimum wage assessment. They said that they're
over in California, you're talking like it's a $20 burrito now.
Yeah. So, and then nationally, McDonald's and others have already been raising prices to keep up with rising inflation. Oh no, the Hochul thing. Is that what you're talking about? Oh no, Governor Hochul actually vetoed some bills that would have ran more people out of her state. Yes, she was actually paying attention for change. Now, if you're a California Democrat and your governor, your state, Senate, and Assembly are all run by Democrats, you can replace your free market economy with a controlled freak economy and conduct all the price distortions you want. Democrats is feeling a beautiful thing. I don't know, guys. It's looking bad if they keep leaving. So let's see. In California, you're willing to pay for filet mignon price $78 for the average 8-ounce filet. It's not even at a nice restaurant.
$78
for not even at a nice restaurant.
God,
that's about what they cost down here at Roos. Well, probably about 65 at Roos. And Roos, you don't get any sides. You got to buy all the sides separate. So it's probably about $100 a dinner, but it's going to be twice that in California.
At the grocery stores here, the select filet, if you go to the butcher at the grocery store, it's like $21.99 a pound, and you can get 2 good ones for less than $21 and cook them up. I mean, but $78.
So Harvard came out and said that going crazy with minimum wage jobs is a bad thing for America because we need jobs to teach people the limits of hard work and discipline without an education. And what the difference is, what will motivate you to go to college is shitty wages, which is true.
Yeah.
You're making crappy money, you might want to go to college or
it boils down to the participation trophy. Here you go. This is what you get for being a complete idiot or, 100% unskilled in sports.
Yeah, this guy here was writing an article. He said, I learned such a lesson working as a teenager at Phoenix Pizza Hut, telling myself daily, there's no way I'm doing this the rest of my life. And then he went to college and got a bachelor's, and now he's a journalist and making $300,000 a year. Of course,
I worked through restaurants all through college. I worked at the Chart House. I worked at a Japanese sushi bar. The bottom level was sushi. The top level was teppanyaki. I've worked at not like McDonald's or anything like that, but it's hard work. It's stressful work, but I actually did enjoy it.
Governor Newsom says he may ban all automatic McDonald's or any restaurants that want to make their restaurants completely, for any matter, anything that wants to be completely automated. So McDonald's response was, if that's the case, we will remove all of our restaurants from California.
Good.
McDonald's is like fucking around with Elon.
There's that 60 billion number going backwards, back down to zero.
It's, really and truly, people, McDonald's is a big company. It'll hurt the state if they all pull out. And if they pull out the other ones.
I don't think so. It's once, it is a big state. It's probably a lot. It's probably the California's where they have their most amount of stores, restaurants. But they have a lot of other restaurants that can fill the gap.
I don't mean it's going to hurt McDonald's. It's going to hurt California.
No, I don't think so.
A lot of tax
I disagree.
money.
You got people are always raving about the In-N-Out burger, which is started in California. Think of all the McDonald's. If McDonald's pulls out, think of all those locations that all these other Hardee's, Wendy's, Carl's Jr., Burger King.
It's not going to matter because they cost more. See, that's the problem in California. McDonald's feels a niche. So if you're in like East LA, California, the only places you see are McDonald's because In-N-Out burgers cost too much for them. That's the problem, McDonald's. So if you got an app, let me tell you a little secret about McDonald's, people. So if you go in a store and go and buy a value meal, whatever you go buy, and say 2 things can cost you $20, $30. If you use the app, it's going to cost you $9. Why McDonald's did this is my son showed this to me because I'm like, dude, there's no way. So we stopped at McDonald's a couple weeks ago and got a quarter pound, a Big Mac, 2 fries, and 2 Cokes for $11.11. So a normal price that would have been $26.
Yeah.
So these kind of things, people like In-N-Out, and frankly, I still don't know what the big deal is about In-N-Out burgers. I've eaten them twice now. I'm not impressed. Maybe because I get Five Guys and Whataburger and other hamburger joints down here. Maybe that's what it is. But
and I wasn't wowed by Five Guys. Everyone raved about that. I went to it, was like, yeah, okay, it's not great.
It's okay. It's not great.
It's not great. In-N-Out Burger, my sister took me to that out in Arizona. It was okay. It wasn't great. It actually reminded me more of like a Carl's Jr. Hardee's experience than anything else.
Kind of
Yeah,
is.
absolutely. And the burger tasted almost the same kind as Hardee's and Carl's Jr.'s.
Yeah, they used to have a good burger, and I don't know what happened to them either.
Mm-hmm.
It's no Five
They
Guys.
might have
Five
done
Guys
like
was a
Papa
weird
John's.
thing. So first time we ever ate at Five Guys, they sucked. And then we were hungry one day, and it was the only thing around, so we ate again, and it sucked again. So we're never eating this effing place again. And one day we were in a place called Daphne, Alabama. And it was late in the evening. It was the only place open. I said, well, if the worst, I can just get a malt. How can you F up a malt? So I walk in, I ordered a big burger and a little burger, and then we ate them. They were good. I mean, they were not good. They was delicious. Of course, I could have just been starving too, but they were really good. So I was like, so I noticed something with them. It really depends on what restaurant you eat in. So if you eat the ones in New Orleans, they suck. I ain't even gonna lie.
Yeah.
The ones up in Mississippi and Florida are actually pretty good. I don't know what the difference is, but when I was a manager for McDonald's and for Taco Bell, you were always allowed to pick your beef. So people, you don't know this. So if a company says it's 100% pure beef, it has to be 100% pure beef, or they can be in big trouble for it.
Yeah.
The FAA will get them. So McDonald's and Taco Bell allow you to pick. So if you're a manager, you can pick 50% beef, 50% soybean. That's why you always get the poops when you eat Taco Bell, because most managers use that. And the same thing at McDonald's. But most managers like myself prefer, because we're eating the food, we prefer 100% pure beef. And so it made a difference in the way the food tastes. And I will give McDonald's one credit, since they went to the I Guarantee Fresh burgers where they cook them right now. The quarter pounder has gotten way better than it used to be.
Yeah, I agree. They're always warmer. It used to be that they would sit there in these little,
and then they nuke
warming trays.
You can't nuke a hamburger, people. No, beef does not do good in a nuke. I'm sorry, it just doesn't. Let's see. South China Sea warning. Former Navy SEAL predicts China will take Taiwan in spring of 2024. You can kiss my ass. How's that? But did I say that out loud? I didn't mean to. We got to go, but commander at Wright-Patterson Air Force Base removed from command. Oh, shit. What was that about?
Uh-oh.
You don't usually fire people that high up the totem pole.
No.
Putin ally sours on prospect of Trump's second term. I bet you he does, man. Everybody's soured at Trump's second term. See, that tells you something about the Democrats right there. Right there. Xi Jinping and Putin are scared of Trump, and they know that they are. So we already know that Kim Jong-un is, because once Putin said, I'll come kill you, he just disappeared for 3 years.
You didn't hear about him until now.
So that's only because he knows Biden's a wuss.
Yes.
So a lot of this stuff's going to go away. You can bet your east. The Middle East was calm when Trump was president, because nobody wants to piss this guy off. He wants to go kill a bunch of people. And even though Obama was the real killer, Trump's like, look, what Trump's biggest wants to do most is get the swamp out of DC. If he would have had 2 terms back to back, he could have probably done it. But if he can win this 4th term and get like DeSantis and Nikki Haley in behind him, where they got a chance of winning next, they can get it cleaned out. They can actually get rid of some of the corruption, because there's serious corruption. And pretty soon, if you start pulling this corruption out of the FBI and people start going to jail or getting in a lot of trouble, they will start ratting out the Democrats that were helping them out with this, so we can get them out as well. No, I just think, Christopher, I think that some Democrats have become communists, for lack of a better way of saying it. Well, we know AOL and them are liberals. I mean, not liberal, socialists. I mean, whatever her name is, she's a socialist. She tells you she's a socialist. Yes, I'm the Muslim. I want to kill all Jews. Yes, she's a socialist. How she even stays in Congress? If any Republican would say that, they would be out of Congress. How she
and
stays
probably up on charges.
Yeah, probably up on charges. Let's see. Yes, Ukraine could shoot down Russia's heavy bombers. No, it won't be easy. They've already shot one down. This article's old.
They've been taking down their capital Navy ships left and right with,
I know,
better than makeshift, bats boat bombs.
Oh, here it is. Chinese rocket booster caught tumbling down to Earth, setting massive fire in woods near home. China just a mess. See, that's what I always talk about China and things like that. China hasn't got to the quality control that you need to be the kind of nation America is. U.S. Navy warship downs Iranian-backed air assault in the Red Sea. So these ships out there have been knocking them down left and right all month. Since they got out there, they've just been knocking stuff out the sky. The other day, they knocked what they call a black something, this badass rocket The ship just knocked it out of the sky like it was nothing. No, they've shot at our ships, but for some reason Joe Biden won't do anything about it. We know Hamas and I forgot the other one that are attacking us are backed by the Iranians. And for some reason, we won't do anything about it. See, Trump would have already said this. The first time we find out that you're backing anything, we're coming for you. Not for them, but for you. That would cut off all support from Iran because Ayatollah seen what happened. Remember this, ladies and gentlemen. Iraq had just kicked Iran's ass when we went over to Iraq and kicked theirs for taking Kuwait. So that's what happened. Iraq got all big. They had this 1 million-man army. They had kicked Iran's ass and was, had even used mustard gas on them. They went down and took over Kuwait. So they were big and bad. And Iran didn't want to have anything to do with them anymore. And then here comes the United States, just whoops Iraq like it's nothing. So Iran now knows they don't have a prayer against us. If Iraq couldn't do anything to us, what the hell are they going to do? They're flying our old F-4 Phantoms that our F-22s keep flying underneath it and going, hi, how you doing? I mean, they just, and they can field drones all day long because we're going to shoot them down. So Iran's in a precarious situation.
Yeah.
Right now, for some reason, Biden.
They're in the hottest part of the planet.
Yeah, for right now, Biden just wants to leave them alone. I just don't understand why Biden, doesn't just warn them and say, hey, we're going to come after you. Screw what Russia and China says. Russia's too busy with the Ukraine to get involved in anything else. Russia wants to try to field another war. They're going to get their asses handed to them. And England told them today, our troops are standing ready and waiting, mister. They basically told Putin, get froggy and jump, buddy, because you don't know what's coming. Yeah. And NATO said, look, we're ready for you. This ain't, so now, and he made the biggest mistake he could. He's got the whole military on alert now. And not just they got them on alert, but we're adding more people and adding more troops, taking more countries, and building more weapons. Russia, that's not the way to sneak attack. Weak and feeble man, 3 ex-Trump staffers fear second term would mean democracy's end. You're about stupid is what you are.
Democracy's end.
Yes. Largest scale attack on the Ukraine cost Russia less than. Wait. I love this. Largest scale attack on the Ukraine cost Russia at least $1.27 billion.
One attack?
One attack.
No way. No.
One attack. It says the latest largest scale attack on Ukraine cost Russia at least $1.27 billion.
If they dropped a nuke, I'd say maybe, but no.
I don't think the nukes cost that more because they're so old. They probably ain't cost $200,000.
Okay, so how about the inflated cost from when it was built in the 70s? Maybe.
That shit is crazy. Jess and me, we got to go, baby. Y'all can send us stuff anytime you want. Usually when we're on, we had some stuff we talked about Trudeau on, and then we what do you mean? Oh, why I call him Mr. Pink Shorts? You'd have to look it up online. So he was doing I think it was breast cancer month or something, and he was wearing these hot pink shorts, and he was wearing this really tight pink shirt and these really tight hot pink shorts, and ever since then he's been Mr. Pink Shorts to me. He looked like a little girl. Wait, as far as I know, he's not gay. No, I just think that's how he was dressing that day. As far as I know, he's not gay. From what I understand, he's pretty much a womanizer. So he's not.
You never know. He may swing the bat from both sides of the plate too.
He might.
Irrelevant, he
might be Uncle Bi. Oh no, we're not getting into all. So a person the other day, I'm going to say person, the other day was telling me about. Don't use the bisexual word now. There's other things, this, that, and that. Like they named off like 5 things. I said, okay. And all of them mean bi, right? And they're like, well, yes. And so why we're not just going to use the bi word? Well, it's old fashioned. I said, so it's accurate. The shit you're saying don't even make any sense.
It's clinically correct. Yeah.
I said, don't. And then before we go, I seen the new Doctor Who. Deep breath, Joe, deep breath. I've seen the 4 new Doctor Who's, excuse me. So I'm a little disappointed. The black guy, the new black doctor, he's funny as hell. He's first time you see him, he's in a white shirt and basically briefs the whole entire show. Actually, Christopher, somebody said he is gay in real life. I have not looked, and I really don't care. What do you mean, a gay doctor? So I've messed myself up here. So on my TV networks, they've been playing all the old Doctor Who's. So I forgot, because of the new ones, how much Gallifrey and the Time Lords were involved in the old Doctor Who's. Matter of fact, several of the Doctor's companions were Time Lords that were traveling with him. And he was always messing around with Gallifrey, getting in trouble with him and having stuff to do. So it was a much different thing. And actually, a lot of the guys who played the Master in those series were actually really good. But the point being is I didn't realize how many, first off, how many new Doctor Who's are actually old Doctor Who's. I mean, almost to the word. So I'm watching Tom Baker the other day when this one where he's aging old. And the first thing I thought of was the Planet Called Christmas, where Matt Smith is aging. It's almost the same thing. I mean, when you're listening to it, it's got the same feel, the same aliens. It's got aliens that fight. I mean, it was the same story. But there's been lots of them like that. Well, in the old Doctor Who's, you can't change sexes. No, you can only be male or female. And at first, I thought it was because the Time Lord said no, because it confuses your family. Because Time Lords live a long time, so if they're men and they're marrying women, it could flip flop, or they could become lesbians. Some people don't want that, so it's not something that happens. And it's in the Doctor Who lore, so it's not. It's pretty tough in the Doctor Who lore. Also, and this was in the second Doctor. Was it the one? Oh, it's either second or third Doctor. They pretty much explain to you some of the reasons why they couldn't be gay, is what they were explaining. Because for some reason, I think some of the people thought the third Doctor was gay. I don't actually think he was, but some people for some reason thought he was.
Well, I mean, if the actor was, that's one thing, but the character never has been. He's never even really hinted. He's always been sort of I wouldn't say womanizer, but a tremendous flirt, at least. Every incarnation. And then it wasn't until the recent incarnations, and they brought back a character, I think, from the original series, but he's played by a Canadian actor, I forget his name, but the character Captain Jack Harkness is legitimately bi. He will go.
He is
on either side. So,
and he actually plays his part well. And see but he's not a Time Lord. The Time Lords had a thing about this, and they made sure, I guess, because in the early days, being gay or being bi, or being anything like that was a big no-no. So it was kind of written in. So when you get the first new Doctor, he's talking to I forgot who he was talking to when he said, "Oh, maybe." And then when Jack's talking to Rose, he said, "Oh no, he'd rather dance with me." So that's the first hint that the Doctor might swing both ways. Yeah. Now, Matt Smith once or twice, but never anything solid. For some reason, what's his name in between didn't really get into that. But now, when he came back, Donna was trying to tell him, "Oh no, I always thought it was closer to service," but he's kind of like, "No." And then I tried to warn everybody that the new Doctor's coming out of a girl, because he was a girl. And he's even wearing one of her shirts in one of the episodes. Yeah. What do you mean? Well, no, people, because what do you mean should represent today? How is that? So before we even get into this conversation, you do realize that less than 2% of the world's population is gay. So how is that? Yeah, you see, what you said was dumb. You didn't think about the other 98% of the people in the world who might be watching the show and might find it offensive.
Yeah.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, there's serious law. It's like changing. It would be like saying, okay, Captain Kirk was gay. Do you really think the series would have been as popular as it was? Do you really think it would be Star Trek like it is today? No, it wouldn't have been. Even if, and you realize they didn't even tell you Sulu was gay for 30 years.
Oh, here's a good one, Joe. Moving on up. George Jefferson.
Oh, yeah.
The actor that played George Jefferson. Never knew it. Man died. He was gay the entire time. I never knew. Hollywood kept his secret for his entire life. I didn't hear about it until he came out, until he actually had passed away. But as far as I know, he never, ever came out publicly to anyone.
And most people back then didn't. So, as far as the Doctor Who actors go, guys, I mean, you can go watch the old series for yourself. It tells you, one, they don't change sexes. Two, none of the doctors are gay. It's because in a Time Lord's life, because what's normal in our society? Being straight or being gay? This is an easy question. So 98% of the world straight, less than 2% is gay.
Yeah.
So it would be being gay would be a sexual deviation, a deviation from the norm. I'm not being mean. I just mean it would be a deviation from the norm. In Time Lords,
it's not necessarily a deviation from the norm. It may actually be a natural biological defense for the population of humans on the planet.
Maybe
if
so.
You have enough people that are no longer interested in the opposite sex, reproduction, the population dwindles down to a planetary medium that's, everyone's, there's enough for everybody. We may be extincting ourselves by allowing so many people on the planet.
Well, there's a lot of stuff going. It's a weird thing.
You go into any building, almost any building within the United States, there's going to be a plaque somewhere that says only so many persons allowed in this building at any one given time, and during an emergency, only this much more. After this, that's capacity. I guarantee you the planet has a capacity limit. We just don't know where it is. We're probably over it.
No, it's probably more like 25. I remember when there was a study done about how much oxygen and how much food the planet can make. It can easily sustain, if you turn most of America and South America into farmland, you can sustain about 28 billion people. Remember, what do you mean, people? No, that's a wives' tale. Most of the oxygen do not come from the rainforest. I'm sorry. It comes from the ocean. Like 80-something% comes from plankton. Yeah, that's what you got to be careful with.
Guess what? We can also farm the ingredients, the necessary ingredients for both oxygen and water directly from space.
Yeah, so it's a little bit different than it was. So the planet can grow. It's just, and it won't matter because thanks to Elon, we'll be on Mars long before we ever reach the maximum of this planet. Not just Mars, we'll be all over the solar system. Probably within less than 200 years, we'll be out closer to Oort cloud. We'll definitely be out by Jupiter and
I'd say in less than 200 years, we'll be beyond the Oort cloud. I mean, technology's there, but
I'm just using a conservative.
They're only going to slowly drop it on us a little bit at a time.
Pete, what do you mean? Why won't Time Lords be gay? Okay, real quick. So when you listen to people at Harvard and other people who are working on gene studies today and evolution of mankind, one of the first things they talk about is how they can remove things from us, like the criminal aspects, being gay, being blind, all kind of stuff. It can just all be taken away so that the human that comes out will not have to deal with any of those kind of things ever in its life. All of that will be removed from it. So knowing that, and knowing that most advanced races will reach this point sometime along the way, why would you think gay would be a normal thing in advanced races? Yes, no one ever even thought about that, did they? Yeah.
Yeah, it's biological defense that our biology is telling us that we're approaching a dangerous level of not being able to sustain the population. That's my opinion.
What do you mean, Kirby? No, gay's been around since man's been around. No, I don't know who told you. It's not something just started now. Oh, God, no, the Greeks were the worst about it. Oh, yeah, all them stories you see about the Greeks with their little young men, that was true stories. That wasn't fake. You remember Alexander? He had a male lover, not a female lover. Yes, and he conquered the known world. Yes, so no, it's not something that's new, and it's not even something that's wrong. It's just something that is the world's changing. At first, the world started changing, it moved away from it. Then the world moved towards it. Now the world's moving in a different direction. Well, because there's lots of reasons why. You'd have to look into it. You know, there's a show I did for NBC News with Jennifer Wallace out of San Francisco when I took on the three women who run the lesbian coalition in California. Got all three of them fired, by the way. Because there are biological factors to this. And no, you're not born gay. You have to choose to be gay. You're not born gay. Don't ever believe that bullshit. No one's born that way. You can be born to have a you can be born for certain things in your life, like being a criminal or being addictive or being gay. But you still have to make but you still have to make the choice. Yes, you still have to make the choice. And depending on what college you go to, right now, the average gay person, about 62% of gays go back straight. I think that's going to change some as society accepts it more. I think you won't see that. I think that number will come down some, probably 50-50. No, I think it'll come down some. Yes, I do. But we got to go. We'll save that for another show. Everybody, at least everybody in this country should have the same rights. It shouldn't matter what you believe in or what sex you want to be, what kind of sex you want to have, unless you're hurting somebody. Everybody should have the same rights in this
As
country.
long as your lifestyle doesn't affect mine or impact my life in a negative way, I don't care what you do.
Everybody should have the same rights. Yes. It doesn't matter what color, what sex, or what sexuality you are. It does not matter. We should all, as long as you're not hurting somebody, it shouldn't matter. But Jay and I got to get out of here. He's got his harem to go take care of, and that's what the dog's telling him.
Yeah.
Hey, look, 5 women is not easy. Yeah, he picked up another one while we were live.
That's why I got the dog, so he can corral them all.
Yes.
He's a shepherd, the German shepherd.
And I hear the Arab women. Whoo, man, that's like one of them Arab Mustangs, man. Whoo, Lord.
Yeah, you got to be careful, man. They will kick.
Yeah. So, any moans, groans, bitches, or complaints, please write to Michelle DeRoche. She handles all that. Michelle DeRoche. She's the boss. Yeah, send it to her. Put on there. Listen. Send it to Michelle DeRoche. Love JoJo. Love JoJo, JJ, and Jack. Anyway, guys and girls, I hope y'all enjoyed the show tonight. I really enjoyed it myself. Y'all going to get to hear Sandman, I think. Maybe not. I might have been lying to you. As we get roll out of here. Yes, you are going to get to hear that. So good night. Enjoy your time. Hope you have a fabulous New Year's. Stay out of trouble. Don't get arrested. And, no drinking and driving. See y'all next week.
Have a good one.
I think the pup likes the music.
You forgot to hit present, maybe?
Can get Jack this week.
We can't hear it. It's not over here.
What the hell?
Yeah, it didn't play.
Turn that noisy stuff.